ESL presents ESL Challenger League in partnership with Intel, Acer Predator, DHL,
Welcome back to ESL Challenger League Season 51, Cup number 3, and we are here in the Grand Finals. It is F5 up against InControl. Thought we'd have lag here, but we don't. InControl, I mean, they played really well, not only against lag, but against Regain yesterday, so they deserve to be here. And F5 on the other side also had a crazy run in the upper bracket, Cole.
Yeah, excited to see these two teams kind of enter into this conversation here in the finals, trying to get a chance there to lock themselves in a chance at the North American finals, of course, a little bit later down the line. And of course, a big opportunity for both these squads to play up against the top level of competition, which sometimes, you know, for squads like these can be few and far between. Talk about some, you know, VRS boosts as well for both these teams fighting tooth and nail. And as you said, I mean, F5 have been on an incredible run to lock themselves into grand finals position through the upper bracket. Their competition is going to be a rematch versus InControl, where they were able to send them into that lower bracket and make that path a little bit more tricky.
Yeah, a little bit of rematch earlier on the bracket, which we're going to check out in a little bit. By the way, of course, I am JRT, and Exner by my side, who just heard speaking. We'll be bringing you all the action today. But yeah, we'll check out that bracket soon. But first we want to talk about the prize pool that is coming through, and well, these two teams are going to walk away with either $8,000 or $4,000. Nothing to shake your fist at. Honestly, nothing to shake your finger at, I should say. And honestly, it's you obviously want to get that that 8K, that number one spot, but it's not just the money, is what I want to say. It's also that spot in the North American finals, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's going to be massively important for these squads here. Again, a golden opportunity to prove your stuff versus the best of the best that North America brings to the table. And I think that's kind of what these teams are after. Again, especially for a roster like F5, who's looking like they are making a run of form here. It could be just a game-defining or kind of tournament-defining run for them to get them into that level of competition. When you get there, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So it would be an exciting showcase here for this squad.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit more now as we're going to check out that upper bracket. You already mentioned it, but F5 did send InControl to the lower bracket. It was decisive in the win. I think it was like 13-5 and 13-7, if I recall correctly. Yes, on Overpass and Inferno. I wonder if we're going to get the same maps. We just might. But yeah, you look all the way across. They beat Regain 2-0, InControl 2-0 to Regain as well yesterday. So it was looking really good. And now we end up in this grand final where F5 have just been kind of cruising. I mean, looking at their results over these last, 3 months, or even just in this tournament here, they did have their struggles against Farmville. I think they went to double overtime on Overpass. They won. Outfit 49, also overtime on Overpass, and won that one. And then finally, against Regain, it was a close one and took an overtime. Again, 16-13. So it wasn't like cruising all the way through, but the one match that was very simple for them was against InControl. So, I mean, they're probably pretty happy to see this come through, I would say, and they feel probably pretty confident. InControl, on the other end, have something to prove.
Yeah, going to be eager for kind of an opportunity at revenge. And man, what InControl were able to bring in yesterday there, it was a very hard fought for matchup, but one that they were able to show some comfort in over the grand scheme of things. It felt like they found their stride, and you could look at the utility usage, you could look at the consistency and think, you know, if they could do that versus a team like Regain here, a proven squad, you know, can they replicate that versus some of the tougher competition? They shut down Zukar, left him on a 0.77 rating, and had Fazinko pretty close behind him. So that was just like a systematic shutdown of Regain, who have consistently haunted them throughout that last year. And now they're looking to bring that into the mix. But we can take a look at F5 here and see who they're bringing to the table. It's been impressive what they've been able to show up with so far. Again, you've got your kind of highlight pieces, and definitely Cameron, one of them, is the newer Cameron to enter into the scene here and be able to develop some success. But throughout this run, you've seen some big performances here in this ECL Cup from Jeremy, who was able to shut down Regain, had a very confident matchup versus the likes of Outfit 49. So it has just been like a full team effort in their campaign to the grand finals, and that's kind of what's most impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to see those results that we were just talking about. 2-0s all the way. Certainly some challenges. I think 3 or 4 overtimes in order to get to this point. But they are here without dropping a single map. And actually 3 overtimes, just to correct myself there. But let's check out the map stats here for F5, and you can see their strengths and weaknesses. Strength, Mirage, and I would argue Overpass as well. And after that, the map pool kind of takes a bit of a nosedive, right? Like, it's difficult. Inferno's like questionable. Nuke as well. Ancient and Dust 2, they just don't want to see. So obviously they're going to have the opportunity to adjust their bans should they choose to do so, but I feel like they'll probably stick with their perma of Anubis. I'd be surprised if they let that one slip through, as we're going to check out InControl and talk about their map pool. But before then, their roster, of course. They looked good yesterday. I thought Aylor and Ayenu were the 2 most impressive pieces in my mind, and like, these are the 2 newest pieces on the squad as well.
Yeah, I mean, they were really showing out there. Ayler with so many multi-kills, a lot of them coming through in the early rounds, and just left him with not a lot of good options there. Scorchy on both the opping and rifling felt like he found his stride. He just had again, kind of a similar story there, where everyone came online. They were throwing great supportive utility for each other, and that was finding a pretty comfortable victory there overall. And again, their pathway in through the lower bracket has been fairly comfortable. Last loss taken was to F5 to send them into that department. So again, going to have to step up to the plate when it comes to this level of competition. They're going to be desperate to show something a little bit more than what they brought us in that last outing. The benefit for F5 here maybe is a little bit more time to prepare for this competition, as we're surely watching that matchup last night, seeing and scoping out the competition in that consolidation final. But now you got to replicate some of that success that you were able to capture if you're F5 in that last series. And InControl are surely going to come with some of those adjustments to try and throw a big swing here in this grand finals.
Yeah, we got the maps coming through here on the side of InControl, and you see that they've also got some considerable strengths on Mirage and Inferno. 8-4 on Mirage, 6-3 on Inferno, and after that, Nuke is kind of also a good playing ground for them, and even Ancient. So you see, like, overall, when you just look on the surface of it, it feels like InControl have a bit of a deeper map pool. They've got more to go to than on the side of F5, but F5 have just been playing some really good Counter-Strike lately. This feels like they're coming out party, honestly, here in this tournament, because I remember watching them against Lag. I think it was a little while ago, and it didn't actually look that great for them. They lost 7-13 on both maps. I'm like, okay, well, there's not much to see here. And then after that, they go on this nice little run and start to impress. So yeah, good for F5. As we talked about this last confrontation, this was great for F5. Already mentioned it, but 13-7 on Inferno, 13-5 on Overpass. Very, very dominant performance. InControl didn't really compete that much, but maybe it sparked them, Cole. Maybe it gave them that nudge or that kick in the behind that they needed to really perform and get back to this point to allow themselves to have a rematch.
That's kind of what I'm thinking here, judging from what we got out of them in the last go around versus what they were bringing in that lower bracket there. A lot more confidence. It feels like if InControl were able to show up with the same measure that they brought us in that last matchup there that we saw in the consolidation finals, that they'll be sitting pretty to be a lot more competitive compared to what they brought us in that last matchup, and that's what they're hoping to show up. Inferno was especially impressive considering they were facing some serious pressure, and then you saw that massive clutch come through from Scorchy that turned the tides, and that being taken as a catalyst to the comeback to close that out and make it a 2-0 is definitely going to be something they want to bring into this next matchup. They had the clutch factor in just about every scenario versus a team like Regain. They shut down the heavy hitters, and that's going to be a key detail to look forward to here for InControl in this rematch.
Absolutely. Checking out the player head-to-head now between these two squads. It'll come up on your screen a bit. Before we get to that, I just want to mention that actually F5 ended up floating their perma last time in Anubis, and they banned Dust 2, which in my mind, if it happens again and I'm in control, I might gamble and go to Anubis and see what happens. But anyway, checking out the head-to-head, Cameron versus Yenu. And I mean, Cameron's been incredible for this squad. I think he had a 1.62 rating, if I'm not mistaken, when they last played each other. I'm just going to double check that to make sure my memory's not going crazy here. But F5 and InControl, no, that was up against Alpha 49. I take it back. Alpha 49, he did have a 1.64 rating on Nuke, but he had a 1.32 rating on Overpass against InControl, 1.12 on Inferno. And then you look at Yenu on the other side, he was great yesterday. Like, I really was impressed with what he brought to the table. I think that, you know, as a new addition to this squad, or a newer addition to the squad, he's really added a firepower element that I felt was lacking previously.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, been able to add to some of the rifling availability here of this squad, and found himself a great stride for this side of F5 that you're going to want to see continue into this grand finals. Some of these matchups have required him to be that key piece, and know he's capable of having that measure of success. But I think for both these teams, you're going to ask for everyone to show up, because that's kind of been the path here. Both teams are in good form. Both teams are hitting hard, and you're going to try and ride that level of confidence to the finish line here. So that's why I think, you know, if you're F5 and you've been able to shut down some really impressive rosters, you got that comfort. It's going to come through at the hands of Cameron, but you're also going to want to see some of these other pieces get involved there in such a high intense environment here as this matchup will be.
All right, let's talk about Kermi now. You mentioned him earlier, Cole, as an important piece, I think, in that previous matchup. How are you feeling about him overall?
I mean, again, he's been able to really step it up a notch here. I mean, his rating right now, you know, maybe not popping off the charts in terms of any big stat line, but in this event, he has been a key contributor here. He has been, you know, a big catalyst for their effort to make it into this point, and now you're just going to be, you know, a single best of 3 away from claiming that victory, and for a player like Kermi to be able to have this impact in the grand finals, maybe not what you would expect, right? This is a little bit of an overperformance in his usual stints at this level of competition, but now you got a chance to do it here. You're going to look to ride that wave to the finish line now.
No, I mean, and also you're absolutely right. I think his rating in just this tournament is something along the lines of like 1.25 or maybe like 1.2 in that vicinity, because he's had really good numbers in, look at the last series against Regain, 1.3 overall rating, and then against InControl, he wasn't great on Overpass, but Inferno, 1.37, and then 1.49, 1.47, 1.37, 1.1, like, it's all good ratings that he's been pulling off over the last 4 BO3, so honestly, yes, this stat sheet over the last 3 months does not look that great, but if you look at it just here right now, what's happening with Kermi, he's a big reason why they've had a lot of success, and I think that bears mentioning. As I think we just have to check out the vetoes now. That's what I'm most interested to see, what maps we're going to, and if we're going to get a bit of a gamble on the side of InControl, or if they just go back to their safety net.
They look to play kind of fast and loose with the decision making here, or are they going to try and see what they can't get away with in this veto? I think last time around you're looking at maybe a little bit of a shock in terms of you know, some of the decisions in that last confrontation, but you're gonna want to see, you know, the comforts come through here for the side of InControl, and what they brought us on Mirage, I think, was unquestionably great there. Their T sides were well situated, great utility again being provided on a consistent basis. So, you know, that's obviously a very clear option for them to lean into and try and work through. So interested to see that being brought into the mix, but not sure overall what they're going to bring in over the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get that veto through, folks, as we are taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll break down the maps and get you into the action. All right, we're back in here, getting ready for action. We'll break down the vetoes for you guys in just a little bit to talk about which maps these two teams will be playing. It looks like everything's been resolved in terms of our delays, and here we go. Ancient banned by InControl, Dust 2 banned by F5, so same thing as last time. Mirage pick and Overpass pick. I believe that might be a little bit different. It is, as it was Inferno, or Overpass Inferno previously, and now it is entirely, not entirely different, but Mirage instead of Inferno, and Overpass still picked by F5. Nuke Decider, I don't know. I honestly expected Cole Anubis to be thrown into the mix, but at least it's a little bit different based on that previous video.
You're going to switch things up a little bit here for InControl. Yeah. I mean, just looking at the eye test that they brought us yesterday, their Mirage was just very strong. It felt like they had no real gaps in the attack. The T side was in flow state, and so I guess that's a good sign for them to try and open things up compared to what they brought in the last series. So switching things up a little bit in that department is a promising sign. Last time they picked Inferno, which to me feels like a little bit less comfortable map, but I think this is a replay.
This is a replay. Like,
yeah. So I mean, what we are going to see in the mix here, if InControl is feeling confident and comfortable, is them trying to replicate that success in that conversation that they brought yesterday in this map of Mirage to open things up, and hoping for the same result. If they can get away with that, I think that'll set a lot nicer of a tone here for this series, because Inferno did feel like maybe they could have lost it, maybe they should have lost it if they were as clean when they were dealing with like the clutch scenarios. You look at that 1v4 from Scorchy that they didn't lose around afterwards. So there's moments like that where I think Inferno could have gotten out of hand, and that's what they picked in the last time they played up against this squad. So shifting away from that, I think, is a smart move.
Yeah, that 1v4 from Scorchy was ridiculous. That was the play of the match, like without a question in my mind. An absolute pop-off moment for, a player that has been pretty good for them. Like, looking at the last 3 months, 1.10 rating, only behind a Yenu, and I believe he's been part of this core for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's been there for a year and a month. As it looks like either way, all the talking's done now, folks. We are ready to jump into the action here on Mirage. As mentioned yesterday, it was very, very good for InControl. A 13-7 win. Inferno was a little bit more difficult when we pull across the finish line, but as you mentioned, once Scorchy hit that 1v4, it was done. They just cruised to the finish line after that point. But here on Mirage, it was Tyra with 20 frags, 1.31 rating, and a Yenu with 16, but a 1.42 rating, just far more impactful in those key situations. As we see F5 trying to repeat the success they had last time. We will not have signal here. Dit77 is the replacement for him, and he's already got 2 on the board for his squad. A couple of responses back here for F5, though, so they even out the numbers at a 3v3.
Still back and forth here, trying to work things through the CT side, and here we're able to provide another pickup. All 3 players trying to enter into this bomb site, though. There's a kit and a smoke still at the available. That is some nice tapping coming through there. Pre-fire from Scorchy, but he'll be bested. 9U trying to work around this Tetris angle, does not get it away. Cannot escape there. A safe defuse going to come through in the mix. It's F5 to lift off first.
Don't have much information on Dit77 either. I don't believe he has an HLTV profile to my knowledge. So hasn't played in an official. But in terms of his FACEIT rank, he's number 395, I believe, in North America in FACEIT. So that's pretty good. Obviously, he's got the skill, we know that, and he's played an open 9-10 actually, season 57 regular season, and his team is 2-0 right now. So there you go. That's what's happening on his side. As now we have Bones getting the spray down onto Tyra through the smoke. 5v4 for F5. It is a 4 coming through for InControl, and they do get 1, but it costs them a lot of health. I mean, you look at Aylar down to 11 HP, and Jace Felder and Ayenu hovering around the half health mark. Ayenu Looking for a duel here into the B side, but Kermie already takes care of Scorchy, and that was one of their healthiest players. So now you're down to the softer ones here, hoping for something, and maybe you'll get it here. No, Cameron flicks around, gets the headshot. Now it's up to Yena and Ayler. Ayler's just speed running to A, and that will be just right to his death.
Quick dismissal. All on the shoulders of INU. Trying to play around with the A1 Nest. It's another target, almost
Okay.
a follow-up there, but will be closed out in the end. This is kind of an unfortunate circumstance here for F5 hopping into this grand final, having to do so on the fly.
Yeah.
But making do with what they got right now, and this is the exact start you're hoping for.
I think, you know, in the early rounds it might be fine, but where Signal is really going to be missed is once the guns come out on both sides, because he tends to be throwing a lot of utility and supportive utility in terms of flashbangs. Leads the team with 0.73 flashes thrown per round and a 0.79 success rate, along with a plus 0.83 flash differential. So yeah, he's important when it comes to utility, and I don't know how Dit is going to perform. Obviously, he doesn't know the team in terms of like how they like to set things up, so it might have an impact. Anyway, Cameron's going to get one, Kermie another. These pistols aren't really going to do much, you'd imagine, here for InControl. Nate is going to take a little bit of damage, but Bones and Dit come to the rescue. So far, Dit's doing the job in terms of the firepower, but once the guns will come out, he'll really be tested. And again, Cole, I don't know if we expect him to be the one popping off, because you've already got, you know, Kermie who's playing really well lately. Cameron also very solid, you know. The rifle core is good. It's more, can he support the team with utility?
That's what he's hoping to bring to the table here and provide that crucial aspect, but largely banking on this kind of fast and loose style to be able to carry you through some of the awkwardness that you might be feeling without your full squad at the availability. So we'll see if they can provide that here. So far, it does feel like everyone else is able to pick up the mantle. They're comfortable opening pick and vanishing as well. There's another pick up there. And right now, InControl, swinging that air. Every duel that they're finding here so comfortable. Scorchy at least able to provide some coverage here in the meantime and slow down this momentum. But they're not shying away from a duel here. A1S swings up the catwalk and it absolutely nails Scorchy to the wall. Walking through the smoke, there's something from Tyra. And he gets around the corner in time. Stay sight at the ready, but the bomb is in T-spawn right now. That's
a problem. That is a big problem. Another one is that Tyra's not going to expect Cameron to be here. So that's a freebie. Tyra's gone. Ayanu, last one available. He does go back for the bomb, so that's something, but he's got 40 seconds left, 3 players to deal with, and no information as to where they might be. Aside from the last one, that was confirmed, I guess, around connector, but that's not really much comfort. Ayanu, 27 seconds. I think the decision's been made. He's got a full belt of utility and AK-47, and his teammates have no money, so he is just going to save. It's going to be 4-0 for F5. And what I wanted to say, Cole, is that if you do have a sub, I feel like it's an ideal playing ground here on Mirage to be going towards, right? Because every player knows it. There's really, it's easy to adapt, right, with having a sub on this map versus, I think, pretty much any other map except for maybe Dust 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to start to break through. And if you find that early comfort, you know, largely based off the confidence here, you can take control. And right now we are seeing a very confident defense be rolled out, where InControl are just trying to work these angles, trying to find some semblance of space here on the map, and being shut down at just about every avenue that they hope to take.
Alrighty. Off we go again. And it will be a buy-up coming through from InControl. They don't want to take their foot off the gas in this round. Bones smoked off. Won't be able to hold that angle anymore, but a lot of noise being made by InControl. So F5 are aware of their presence. Nice nade thrown onto Nate, and Dit's gone. Although Cameron and Kermie get both players trying to double swing them over at Cat and take the advantage, although it is only brief because Cameron is going to get headshot through the smoke. Ayanu finds Knight, and then Kermie gone as well. Ayanu doing great work, and that's a big miss from Bones. They know where he is. Bones jumping up, speaking around, misses another one, goes out again, wins that fight, won't win the next. Finally, InControl are on the board.
That's exactly what they needed right there. A big round to build the confidence off of. Victory like that. It's going to bring exactly what you need. Despite some of the early opening damage, to be able to put it into the rain of rounds here. Now comes the question, can they keep up that consistency? This one not much more important, because if this one goes awry, T-side economy is going to be shot, and then you're right back in the swing of things for InControl. Right back in that conversation. Going to send in Bones aggressive in towards apartments on the op. This allows for the resources here. InControl to spread out elsewhere. And put a little bit more towards middle. That's exactly what they're gunning for right now. There's the opening tool as well. Bones is able to claim first blood. Clears out that deep positioning in towards apartments. At least something back there. This lurk through Palace. It's going to net the equalizer. So kind of tit for tat in the CT side at the current time here. Kind of gambling off of B to re-clear middle. It's going to be a bit of a foot race here, depending on how confident InControl is on this call. Mid's fully clear. CG side not going to be shifting in the right direction, though. They're not budging.
I mean, they could still get it on a flank here, and they actually could catch a player. Ayanu. Oh, no, they don't. Ayanu is going to get the kill onto Cameron, and the B site completely vacant. Although Kearney's coming in at a perfect time. He could drop the bomb here. Oh, Scorchy's alive. He's going to go out again. There's the bomb down. Can he get the second player? No. So the bomb should be scooped up and brought over to the site. Tyra probably going to get the bomb plant as well, but they're now in position. Nate gone. Ayanu taking care of him at 3K for him and a 2K in the previous one. What a flashbang thrown by Tyra to support JS Feltner's push. Then Tyra gets that shot on Kermie, and Control starting to look the same way they did yesterday.
That's what they're after right there. Excellent utility usage. And a very clean round there from them. Is exactly what they needed to build that confidence. Right on back there. Great flash there. Even better lurking coming through out of INU. Hanging around there in apartments. Being able to establish a foothold. Frustration going to be felt here. It's the stranglehold that they had on this one shifting out of their favor. Full eco, multiple mollies tossed in, forcing a fight out of Cameron. He goes forward into his demise, and the rifles sitting pretty to deal with the pistols. There's something extra to Kermie. We'll throw in another shot there, but the op will put him to rest in the end. Will be a solid round there to work off of.
Indeed. Timeout called by F5 now. They're saying, okay, hold on a second. We had a 4-0 lead. What is going on? InControl getting 3 in a row. That third one kind of expected given the buy-up that F5 had. Now they're going to continue discussing. What do we do here? Bones doesn't have the op. We have to stick with rifles only. Utility's not full for everyone, but it's only a piece missing for each person, so it's not the end of the world. Do they keep playing aggressive? How do they deploy themselves, given that DIT is not their usual fifth?
To adapt on the fly here. But as you said, things get a lot more tricky when you're operating with slightly unknown quantities here on the team. Gonna see what they can make do here. So it was a brief breather here. We get them right back into the action though as they move quickly in towards this A site. And again, the defense is left a little bit outside looking in on these smokes and flashes, constantly blinding up. Hit, tucked and covered. Can't stay there for long though. I mean, just great flashes tossed in to completely deny access, but a double open connector here. They can use that follow-up smoke or some more util to flush them out of position. They just hold the line, not even planting the bomb, but finding the kills necessary to get that victory.
This is the InControl squad we remembered yesterday. I mean, just unbelievable coordination. The utility strong. Every single time it feels like there's a 50-50 fight, they're winning them. It's 4 in a row now. Rebuff completely our F5. Dit was erased immediately. He hasn't had a kill in the last 5-6 rounds, I think. Something like that. I think 5 rounds, excuse me. 5 rounds, no kills for Dit. Not to say it's only his fault, because it isn't. You know, it's a team effort no matter what, but it's just, again, you know, hard not to highlight the fact that the sub is coming in and doesn't necessarily have the playbook. JS Feltner, along with Tyra, moving their way up ramp. Dit looking around. He's going to take first contact again, more than likely. Smoke comes in, wants a deagle headshot. Needs to find something. He's not going to get anything. He's just going to back off at this stage, hope that perhaps a CT player can do something. But as it stands, you know, the util is strong again. Control going to get the post plant. They have to watch CT. Be careful, there's no smoke there, but so far so good.
Pretty here. Continuing to find those comfortable duels. Up against the pistols, not able to provide much damage. I'll simplify the matters. I'm just sticking around here. See what he can't sneak away with. But nothing really provided here in the end. There goes a lead there, now taken. No, close. They take over control here on this T side. They get the job done. 5th found before the guns come out once again, but we can see InControl doing exactly what they did yesterday, as you highlighted. Finding that replicated success. It's coming off the back of this great utility and everyone being able to hold their post. Full understanding of what needs to be watched in these executes.
It feels like InControl figured out what F5 were doing pretty quickly in terms of that aggression that was coming through into mid. So, like, without that available for F5, they've been struggling a little bit more. Aylor, looking for something. Nice nade tossed here into the apartment. Scorchy gonna eat that. It's down to 49. Cameron walks out. Nice push by Knight and Cameron. Say Knight, I mean Nate. Aylor and JSL are going to couple back, though. And Nate's still kicking here at mid. Hasn't taken any damage and has 2 frags. JS Feltner shaking in his boots, perhaps. Oh, the spot for Knight. And it will be the smoke toss and the nade afterwards. JS Feltner lucky to be alive because I thought Nate was going to get that, and Nate does get it in the end. The nade tossed out. JS Feltner gone. Ayanu hoping to find something up against Nate. And Nate, I believe, was spotted. I mean, he knows he's somewhere in this vicinity. Was waiting for his teammate, Cole.
Just impatient.
Oh,
Pretty here. Gonna get a motion on this CT side and be able to hold the line here with the rifle. Nearly claims ace there. Kramer gonna go and scoop up the last, and F5 able to strike back. Big individual effort. Stepping up to the plate there on that defense, and I'll get another one in favor of F5 as they try and inch past here. A reality check taken. As you can see, holding together this defense on middle.
Yeah.
Finding some HE frags there, some cheeky utility to help out, simplify the matters.
Cameron spamming the smoke. That's a good response for F5 to get after losing 5 rounds in a row. Cameron going to eat the nade? I mean, it's all an individual effort from Nate, right? So that's the reason why they're able to get that round. But now Bones trying to step up to the plate. Ooh, he gets one. He should be traded. He is. And Tyra right before that got Cameron. So it's a 4v3 for InControl as they continue to try and bounce forward here. And oh my goodness, individual effort coming from Kermi now. 2K on Daler and Scorchy. What a turnaround for him. It is Ayanu, the last one standing, who does get Kermi. 1v2, bomb recoverable. Tons of time, too. Like, he does not have to commit towards this B site. AWP in hand. Can isolate the duel. Sees the shoulder and hits the shot. Now a 1v1. Molotov tossed. He knows that Nate is somewhere in the vicinity. He's waiting for Nate to show himself. He's got the jump if he just holds this angle and scopes in. He's got it! Ayanu, quick scoping on to Nate, and it will be a 3K for him InControl somehow, thanks to the heroics of Ayanu. Get that 6th.
That is such a wild decision right there, but being able to hold the line there, play patiently, and deliver this killing blow. Gonna gather around right back, a big hiccup, but using that op to full effect.
That's crazy.
That is a bold play right there, but seeing some of the star power here of this key piece on InControl. Is able to bring them at least a tied scoreline here. Bones back up in this position deep. Apartments, flashbang rattles off, but Ayler ducks underneath the crosshair and nails the headshot. That is a beauty of a swing.
I love the patience here too from F5, right? Like they get, or excuse me, InControl. They get that first one and then just pump the brakes and go, okay, what are you going to give us? Are you going to push? Are you going to try for something? It's thinking about it. Ayanu waiting potentially for a push to come through. But it is just holding the line. Will he get impatient? Will he try pushing here thinking that it's clear? If he does, it'd be dead to rights. In the end, he's holding his nerve. Ayanu. He'll be around the corner. I think his feet are visible. They are. He's dead. So is Nate. Oh my goodness. InControl are just running right through this A site. Cameron and Kermi, the last two standing. And they will be on a mission to try and retake A.
That's what you're after right there. Taking over that space. A desperate walk through the smoke there to no avail. He shut down out of that motion and on the shoulders of Henry to try and cap off the half, but doesn't get much of a chance there. InControl will walk away with the lead despite the slow start. They're able to claw their way back into this grand final.
Wow, what a recovery here from InControl, winning 7 of the last 8 rounds in that first half of action to take the lead and, you know, be up 2 rounds here in this second half. It's really something else what they were able to achieve off of a lot of strong individual efforts.
Yeah, I mean, getting their head back in this game quickly here is of the utmost importance, and able to really deliver that in stride there. Finding a consistent foothold on that T side after such a slow start. You're able to prove what you're bringing to the table here, and especially in a rematch that is as important as this, you're going to look to bring in a little bit of more of an effort. You know, it could have felt like it was going to be more of the same, even though we have that sub situation, that stand-in situation coming through into the mix. We definitely saw a big performance here come through out of some of the pieces.
It certainly did. And if you look over at InControl, they actually did play Mirage earlier today in another tournament, and it ended up being Akimbo they went up against, losing 2-13, which, I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm not necessarily surprised that Akimbo roster is the same one that used to exist as the core is. A while ago, they reconnected and became Akimbo again, and Mirage is one of their strongest maps when they were a unit before, and it continues to be now. As they reform. So that was a tough matchup for InControl, but now, you know, they're back to, I would say, like a familiar type of matchup, similar to the one they won against Regain 13-7, and just seeing that success on their T side is really impressive, because it usually is their weaker side, and now they go over to their stronger side, not by much. They were 3.1% better here on CT side versus T side, but still, you know, quite good, 6.6%. And then F5 are very balanced here on Mirage. It's pretty even. For both ends, so you're looking at like 52%, 53% for CT side, and 51.8% for T round win percentage. So yeah, it's still anyone's game. I feel like, you know, F5 with the sub are at a disadvantage, though. I think that's the biggest difference. And again, oh, apparently Signal has returned. Okay, I take everything I just said back. If Signal is on the server, that will be a nice boost for him.
Yeah, that's definitely something you like to see right there. Being able to play with that full squad is just a huge relief here for them. For a team that, you know, as a matchup as big as this one is going to be, you want to make sure you're working with your full squad and everyone is getting involved there. And that's what they're going to have here and now. That's definitely going to be huge for them.
And it's ideal for them now being on their T side, right? Because you have your utility guy. You have the guy who's going to set up your plays, which is a lot more important on the attacking end than the defending one. So yeah, it's a good situation for them. It's still not great because they're down by 2 rounds, but they're going to feel a lot better. They've got their normal 5 in there. It's just a comfort zone that, you know, you can't understate how important it is for them to have once we do get going, of course, with this second half of action. Overall, though, I still feel like even with their regular player back, InControl looked great, and they were isolating the core of F5, right? Like they were taking care of their riflers pretty handily, and you didn't see Kermi, you know, have that much impact here that one round, but Cameron as well, kind of limited in terms of what he was able to do. Only 4 frags on the board. That's very low, but Signal is back, so maybe that'll change things for them and allow for their riflers to shine a little bit more off some strong utility usage. We'll see.
But they're hoping to show up within the here and now. Another pistol round going underway in this T side, as you said. Maybe a key detail here. You have full squad at the ready. And look to queue up and execute. That can be worth some damage. Ability raining down here, space being taken. They get themselves in towards jungle without meeting too much resistance. Almost going to be planted. There's still a player in the window. That's J.S. Felder, but he's covered completely. Not a chance to get out of that spot there. And now a man advantage here being picked up off this T side. They go swinging for jungle, and Tyver's able to punish that big time. Can he draw the attention away here as Cameron's still positioned to try and deny access? They're trying to crunch in on him. Eventually they flush out the player inside of jungle, but there's still 2 more to deal with here. It doesn't get much easier. INU trying to chase down these frags. Kit at the availability, but they can't cover both angles, and Cameron and Signal already joining forces. You see the impact that Signal brings here in the opening pistol.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, just combining with his teammates to ensure that that post plant is held on to. Great patience as he's waiting for them to stick to the defusal, knowing that they probably have a 10-second defusal ahead of them. And he takes care of it either way. And they started off really well. Then you saw InControl trying to fight back. But at the end of it, it is F5 to ensure that the pistol round will go their way. Force buy is on for InControl, except Ayanu. Okay. Goes for a Deagle with no armor behind it. Maybe saving to help Bones get an op. Or not Bones. To ensure he gets an op. Or his teammate, I should say. Either way.
Do what they may do with lesser tools here. Got some utility down to take over middle on this T side and full con control at the ready. What you're gunning for here. And that totem pole gets knocked down as soon as it's assembled. That is a scary sight to see here. JS Feldner able to find the follow-up frag, but backs up into the molly. So his reign in the round comes to an end.
Yeah.
See, they put up pieces in towards A. Healer able to find one, but quickly finished off.
I was just going to say in their Signal Hunger flashbang, you already see him trying to activate in that regard, and he will get an assist onto Tyra despite falling earlier in the round. Did the damage. Kermie takes care of the rest. He is looking strong. 15 frags on the board. This is what we were talking about, right, Cole? Like, he's been that good throughout this tournament. I would even argue the star player for the squad and kind of taken the mantle from Cameron. But Cameron's still good behind him. I think Bones has been good on opping. So you've got a solid core now supported by the players that often get overlooked, right? The ones that are setting up those plays, throwing the flashes, making sure that the space is opened up. It's so often overlooked because we're looking at the fraggers and the stars that come through and make the flashy plays, but the flash bangs are also critical.
No doubt. I'm not trying to get some utility on off. Definitely meeting some really resistance here off the pistols, but no kills confirmed. And holding the line goes for a big wall bang to Signal, but that creates a space for Scorchy to strike. The opening kill looking fairly comfortable on the fadeaway. Man advantage heading to Ayler. Not spotted. Cameron inches away, trying to maybe hunt for some presence, but somehow Ayler's angle just barely overlooked. So he's able to contain deep positioning, setting up this stack on the A side because of his spot, and now he's going to move forward here as well. There's a couple different options. Could deal with the flank if you're Cameron. That's going to be a big concern. But instead, he's going to try and disrupt this execute, and this could be even bigger. If you can catch a player with smoke and bomb in hand, it's not clean. And there's the chaos. It's T side. Now trying to make a move, but they're still running into the stack, and it's a follow-up headshot. Remind you, looking for more there. Kermie eventually able to find the trade. Mid presence here being shown to headshot connected onto Cameron, and eventually finished off there. It's JS Feltner from CT Spawn to seal the deal there. And an 8th round picked up InControl, not going to give over the lead yet.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where, yes, the flank does miss the shots, but the pressure is applied and the panic ensues. And that's when F5 just send it to A. But because they're in such a panic, because it's such a hurry to get out of there and knowing that the flank is a constant threat, they walk into a very unfavorable fight. And the Deagle is the one that reigns supreme. Deagles for every single player. And man, oh man, InControl use them very well. Timeout called for F5. Their second called already, as InControl win an absolutely massive round there. One that we didn't expect them to come through with. Sure, F5 have enough money to buy up 3 rifles, but they will be more limited for Kermie and Signal onto Tech 9s. Scorchy will have that op. I believe it was dropped over by Ayanu, but either way, InControl hang on to the lead they fought so hard for, at least for now.
take that advantage off the back of the deco. It's a brilliant positioning. No overextensions. Just good informed rotations. And now F5 go for something a little bit more standard here. Off spawn call. Rolling out. In a position here in which the defense not fully situated, but there is still an offer in CT. And that's a clean connection there. Tyra also pushing past the smoke. Missed top shot from Scorchy, but he's going to find a sure third shot. For me. Looking for an angle to plant that bomb. Taps it to fake. Look at us in the spam back and return. And instead, yes, Veltner able to track the tracers. It's a transfer from Signal, but it won't connect. And a 9th round claim forced by Punished. In a really tough spot to find yourself in. If you're F5 with the money bottoming out.
Interesting finish to this map. Like you mentioned, money is gone for F5. They're going to be on the eco. That means InControl will likely get to 10. Their run of form continues here after a slow start. They've been red hot. And it feels like while Signal was able to get that pistol round for them, similar to the way DIT did, right, in that first half, and then they got the conversion afterwards. It's been, oh my goodness, InControl all the way since that point. 2 nade frags at the beginning, and then it's a clean finish. Not a single lick of damage taken by InControl. They build up a solid economic foundation on their CT side, which is always important, and they easily get that 3-round lead.
One more confidence going to be built.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's another utility clinic as well, even just on an anti-eco.
Yeah, you got to nail down those details every round here. Can't hurt to have good util versus the pistols as well. No smoke does connect. I'll mid in order 2. 4 clips spammed out from Tyra. Quick valley control taken by Cameron. Ichi avoided as well. He's looking to line up some angles. There goes the smoke towards top connector. Recycled utility here under window as well. JS Veltner going to walk into the duel. And Cameron is prepared here. Tyra, though, a very peculiar spot. Doubling up on the boost towards window. Going to wait this smoke fade out. And Tyra should be seen first here. This smoke is slightly outside of night. Tyra waiting. And there you go. Instant dismissal. Tyra read like a book here in a double opener provided by the T side. They're already in CT, into market. I mean, what do you do here if you're A? They're probably not a lot, to be honest with you. He is going to find the first frag.
Yeah.
There is pressure coming through out of apartments up next. There's another kill here. I can't believe he finds a multi. I just don't know if that's going to be enough to save them, and it doesn't look likely. Cameron sequencing in damage here, but I knew incredibly low on HP. All he'll probably want to do is try and scoop up the AWP and walk away.
That's exactly the plan. They have the money to buy it again, but it makes way more sense to save it in this situation. It's tough to justify, even in a 1v2, to go for this just because of how low Yato is. 10 HP. He's got the armor. He's got the kit. An incendiary, the op. It's a lot of value. And you also have a 3-round lead, 3-round cushion, which will turn into 2 rounds, but that's okay. You're still looking good. You're able to get 3 frags in the round, so F5 aren't comfortable either going to their next buy-up. I'm not sure where that flash was intended to go for bones, I guess over the wall, but it doesn't do much of anything afterwards. Once he misses it. But yeah, InControl, they get the op, they have a full buy, and look at the try again.
Get this run back. Might go for a double op. That's seemingly the case. I mean, makes it that much more important that you hold on to that secondary. And you now wielding. In these sort of situations, you expect maybe some sort of gimmicky move here. But oftentimes that'll come through apartments here. This time it's a little bit more standard here. Scorchy just worked with the op towards connector, and you get your other one posted up on A main for any early executes here. It does feel like maybe a bit of a traffic jam of oppers on this A-bomb site. You know, one effective execute with good smokes, and it is very hard to hold and then can be tricky to retake as well, given the crossfires. There's no picks provided here just yet.
Feels like they're trying to fake A right now? I'm not sure. Like, it's a lot of utility committed. Probably just going to send it, but they don't have any smokes left, so it's going to be difficult. I feel like advantage in control here, honestly. We'll see how it goes. Bones will get one. Cameron another. Maybe I'm wrong. Trades go in favor of F5, and then a missed shot from Ayanu means that the A site will be under full control here by F5. Aelor trying to support his Opera here, and this is kind of the issue on the retake you were talking about with the Ops, although there's only one left. It's still... Oh, Scorchy, look where he's gone through. How does he get nothing there? Oh, no, indeed. Bones turns around and catches him off guard, meaning that Aelor and Ayanu have such a difficult task. Both players coming from the same angle, probably dead, and F5 will ensure that they do fall to dirt, with Nate getting the last one. 9-10, and now F5 are poised to tie it up.
And that is brutal stuff right there. Double op gets punished here. That's going to be a costly situation there. Scorchy hoping that he can queue up another one of those clutches, but instead walks away empty-handed here. That's going to be devastating to deal with. And toss in some utility towards the middle, but not a lot being brought to the table here. InControl able to bail themselves out with a round like this in the past. Can they find it again? As Kermie definitely feeling overrun on this A side, able to stabilize and situate himself in the back of A ramp, and he has help this time from Connector. There's no hesitation on this round here. Instead, they lay quick claim to this A side. They look to tie the scoreline back up here. Scorchy will try and back away with this op.
Yeah, it's going to be a long save for him. And if you're looking at the money situation for F5, I would imagine a little bit of a chase will come through here, perhaps by Cameron, who's already got two, might be hungry for more. Smells blood in the water. But Scorchy is very well tucked in towards apartments here and kitchen. And this will be a successful op save, but an unsuccessful round. InControl watching their 3-round lead evaporate into thin air.
F5 having to come up with some creative solutions there. Hold on the game kind of got put on a pause after that A hold with the Deagles. Now it's InControl's time to call a timeout. So you do not want to concede a lead at this crossroads, especially again with that money teetering on collapse here on a round loss. They do have that loss bonus stacked up here a little bit, but can't afford for this space in the map to be taken so comfortably. F5 pulling out different tricks in the out of the hat here as well. All right, you see the double window maneuver coming through there. Leaves you with no good options. That way that they're taking space on the map, feeling super deadly. So is there going to be a big adjustment off the back of this timeout, and it'll be respected by F5, knowing that they're going to try and look for some solutions. I was thinking maybe a little bit more presence towards middle. You see the same volley of smokes fairly consistently, and not a lot of fear factor in the mix. And meeting any resistance here, if you're Cameron, you just get to walk out free of charge. There's a missed window smoke here, so that's going to allow an angle in window. We're trying to play off of it. Exposed under window here, but a boost is going to show his head. And Signal going to claim himself a nice one. Flashbang comes through just in time, but INU takes a long time to spray.
What?
A lot cleaner on the follow through, though. And he's going to keep things even now.
I thought he wasn't going to get one, not to mention both. Well done. Recovers quickly and brings it back to even numbers. Molotov's going to get tossed towards the B site. That may just be a fake here coming through from F5 because they've still got a ton of utility available to them. amongst these three players. Same can be said for InControl, though. This will be an A finish regardless, especially with Nate posted up there right towards a ramp. Util being tossed around. And now jungle control taken. However, as soon as they walk past that broken wall, Ayler's waiting. It's a strong angle. Oh, but the timing's a little bit off as he's moving away from it. And now a player slipped past. They know it's going A, but they're going to have to deal with the smokes and perhaps an incendiary as well, going through and blocking off their approach.
This is all important play, though. Move going through the smoke from JS Feltner. Good deny the bomb plant. If not, find more. And there you go, bomb on the floor. He's going to find the follow-up as well. And JS Feltner strikes just in time. Had to deal with smoke spam as well to find that frag. And a big-time play there coming through at a crucial moment. He's going to keep InControl on top. We're going to take 11 first. Now look to find the follow-up as well. It'll be the first to map point. Be a huge relief. And it comes down to a couple key moments there. INU finding the multi. That connector positioning, I feel like, was hoping to be watched from the top of middle, but one great flashbang to queue up that peak allows for him to isolate those targets. And messy on the first frag, but taking two is incredible moment there. Might be a map defining moment for him.
Might be. Still cash in the pockets for F5. They're coming back in full force. This angle
it's a nice
be
boost.
Interesting for Scorchy. Yeah, boosted up. Kermi not spotted. Oh, there we go. The barrel's been seen. They know he's here. They have to fall off the boost, though. Smoke gonna get tossed. Information gained at least, but Kermi is lucky he was not taking steps forward a little further to that left. Because if he was, he would have been dead. Smoke's gonna come out here. And F5 are looking to take that mid control. They effectively have it. Because the Cat player's fallen back now as well in JS Feltner. And you've got 38 seconds left for F5 to make a play. It's going to finish A. Do they win the fights?
We're seeing the smokes here trying to get an angle, but somehow Cameron comes out on top there. Labored spray here, but Kermi will find the follow-up trade as well. Deals with the catwalk presence. Still a position in CT, but Bones has it covered with his AWP and sliding past the smoke. A complete collapse on this A side. Naylor left to trying to hold on to his weaponry. Such a dominant round coming through there. And again, it's F5 working with their bread and butter. Working through middle and not meeting any resistance. Adding an extra element to this A attack, and everyone gets caught a little bit surprised by the positioning. And Kermi's even looking for this last bit of weaponry. Inside the market side, well, Kermi check it. He might be looking more towards apartments. And up. It's spotted. And a nice spray from Ayler. He's able to contain it eventually. Can he survive, though? Chased down. Could be a difficult duel. And he drops and finds the frag. Ayler doesn't get to walk away with anything. And now the money is very questionable for the CT side. Scorchy, he's got a little bit of funding, but F5 could take map point first off the back of that here. It's going to be a scrappy half buy instead of full rifles.
Yeah, that's the right call. I mean, it's tied scoreline, round number 23. Sure, you might lose this one and be down 11-12. But if you win it, and with just Deagles, then you'll have an even stronger buy up in the next. So they've done it before. They might do it again. Into the smoke is Cameron, who gets traded by Tyra, but Kermi did get another frag as well, so it's still a man advantage. So Kermi's kind of low, and he still wins one, and then finally is traded, but winning that one is actually really important. Because now it's a 3v2, maybe even a 3v1. Tyra lucky to be alive, and it won't last much longer. His luck, that is, as Nate will take care of him. And now Aylor, last one available. Util's going to come raining on forward. The nade connects, the Molotov, the bullets. I mean, Aylor is on life support at this point. 11 points of health. And could potentially just walk right into the op crosshair. Trying to take a different path here towards the stairs. looking around, wants to find something, anything perhaps, but the best course of action for him would be probably to save. He's not going to be able to now. He's fully committed. There's no way he gets out of that. Yep. Bone's going to spot him out. And it's 12-11 for F5, who are trying to recover after being down 5-7 at the half to take their map pick.
You know, those clutch heroics going to bail them out right now. You're going to have to do this the hard way. I don't know what the case is. Let's see what they can bring in this last round of regulation. Whether that's going to be F5 pushing it on their opponent's map pick.
Yes.
Owns a chance here with this angle on the op. Avoids the HE. It's Cameron trying to sequence in some aggression. Already up catwalk. I mean, again, it's such valuable real estate taken in the early stages of the rounds, and that's a huge problem. Cameron here in the reload. Gets himself up connector. God. This is scary stuff. Tyra exposed and eliminated. Dispatched of. You still have presence in ladder. And this A site hold becomes that much more difficult without this positioning, so INU has to go and flush out these players. The rest of the team, though, coming through with the spray transfer is fierce. Jeremy's still lurking about inside the ladder room as A is fully open for business here. Flashbang looks perfect, but Jazz Filmer can't complete the kill, and Ayler has to make it work on a flank, but it looks like F5 just a single frag away from laying claim on their first map in this grand final here. Ayler gonna walk into the spray there. Signal gonna close things out. Comes back for the second half and is able to provide the finishing blow.
Yeah, I mean, he just boosted up his team. Honestly, they felt more comfortable. They looked more comfortable playing as a unit there, with Signal being a part of it. 22 frags, I believe it was, that Kermie finishes with. Nate had around 17 or 18. It's just really, really solid performance from F5 on their T side. Both teams having great T sides. But as it stands, it will be F5 stealing away their opponent's map pick with a 13-11 win. And now they'll go on to Overpass, where they've won 4 in a row. But before we get there, we're going to take a quick break. All right, we're back into it here. F5 coming back from a 5-7 deficit at the half, rejuvenated by Signal's return, and take the map 13-11. And now they go to their map pick of Overpass, which has very recently become favorable playing grounds for them. Out for 49 in Farmville were overtime wins, but then they absolutely dominated InControl in their previous affair against them, 13-5, and then against Regain won 13-10. So yeah, and you look on the other side, InControl don't play much Overpass, and when they do, it's not great. They have an overtime win and a dominant win against Fisher College, but we already talked about the loss to F5 and the loss to Chicken Coop as well in OT. So I mean, obviously, you know, InControl riding a high, beating Regain, doing well in the process, but I don't know if they'll be able to recover here after losing their map pick.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's going to be a lot more of an uphill battle. I mean, you talk about the drop-offs that we see here in terms of the performances and the vetoes, and it's a lot more difficult, I think, for InControl to work through this next map. We saw it fairly recently in this cup as well. It was a 13-5 victory for F5, so they're going to need to show us something much different than what they were able to bring the last going here. Hopefully you're kind of banking on a lot better of a CT side. You gave over 9 rounds on the T side of Overpass, which I feel like is unsustainable for any sort of real effort. So if they can, maybe get more in the conversation for a first half, I think they'll be much more promising, with much more opportunities to come back into the mix. But that T-side takeover that we got out of F5 just a couple days ago is going to be reverberating in the back of their minds, and they got to try and find a way out of that hole.
Certainly. And let's talk about the MVP of the previous map now. I'm going to say it's Kermi. I think that's my guess as the top player in that previous one. He had like 22 frags or something, was solid on both sides of the map, even when things were kind of rough for the side of F5 in the latter part of it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. He was able to show up was super impressive, found a decent bit of consistent form, and kind of carried forward what he was bringing into the mix over this entire event so far. And yeah, there it is. Yeah. I mean, this guy's been clearly outpacing what has been some of the standard results for himself, and playing with that same level of confidence round in and round out. And that's a promising showcase here as you enter into the grand final. It's one last hurdle that you have to get past, and you're doing it again. You're bringing that same level of consistency that you had all tournament long, and that is such a promising sign here heading into your map selection now as well.
Yeah, and the 1.36 rating as well that he had was just consistent with the numbers that we've been seeing on his side. And Cameron behind him with 18 frags, but a 1.3 rating on his side, only 0.06 behind Kermi, but still, like, it's great to see that they've got himself, Kermi that is, and Cameron, and then Nate performing so well. Just Cameron's like a boost to the squad that they don't usually have, but maybe they'll have to get used to it. I don't think they're going to complain about that. Anyway, Cameron and Nate are going to get a couple to open things up. They walk right onto the B side, look pretty much undisturbed here on the approach, and then Kermi catches Scorchy trying to rotate over. This is all F5, unless Ayenu and Tyra have something to say about it.
They bring here into the mix. There's the extra frag, so wallbang damage is actually connecting as well. As the dust settles there, they'll be able to take full control of the round. That'll be a quick finish to the pistol. Another strong statement start for themselves here to lift off and show out. Control missing out on this pistol. He's going to lead them into a force buy as well. They're going to try and stay scrappy on the investment.
And I mean, like you said, if F5 can come through and have a similar T side to what happened previously here in this matchup between these two squads, it was 9-3 at the half, and InControl are in a world of trouble. That pistol round obviously doesn't give InControl much confidence, given the way their previous CT side just went on Mirage. Let's see if the force buy can change things. Nate's going to sail through from Kermi. He's just lurking around this B site as it stands and trying to make a lot of noise. Attract rotations, perhaps. Tyra leaning into connector. This is kind of what F5 wants, because if Tyra goes out here and tries to get into connector, then he's going to be dead to rights. Now they're going to take the space in the short bathrooms. Tyra doesn't realize it. Kermie about to take a fight. Flashbang thrown, and Scorchy will get Kermie, but Nate takes care of Aelor, so a good trade to come through. And now F5 will continue their approach towards the A site. That will be their final destination.
In that direction here. Trying to get some utility off, but there's just no escape. You can see him booking it. Running for the fences right there, but no chance. Escape the grasp of these riflers that are caught on his heels. That's going to be that here. Job well done. A little bit of an effort to poke prod from these MP9s, but again, it's another situation you would like to save. I guess there's a kit, so they're still going to be interested. They can get a late fadeaway. They're starting to run a little early on the T side, rather, but no, not going to happen. Now this escape that much more difficult. JS Feldner trying to dodge his way out of this duel. Signal he's going to drop as well.
Okay. Some
nice exits. The cutoff of the heavens. He realized the player's up short already. He's got to also escape the bomb blast. JS Feldner.
AK.
3 kills on the fadeaway. They're making the most out of a drastic situation.
I mean, that's $200 extra for his entire team, and AK picked up. I mean, they're probably not going to invest much in this round, but it'll be a boon for them in the follow-up because JS Feldner can drop an AK. Despite that effort from JS Feldner, it still was a very dominant round from F5, taking the space, not really having that much trouble until they went for that chase in the last player, but still, they'll be happy being up 2-0. Their bank accounts won't be happy, though, because they only came out of that round with 1 player. You see Kermie going back to the MAC-10, which is not a big issue. This is actually a really good way to farm money, given that you know you're probably going up against pistols, regardless of that heroic effort, and it doesn't farm anything at all. JS Feldner will take care of that. Nate gets the immediate trade. Cameron walking out. Bad nade. Could cost his team some health and perhaps a life or 2. Yep, there goes 1. Signal gone. This is getting really messy for F5. They may have to dip from this take of B entirely.
That's
another
big
AK
wake-up call.
Wow.
And yeah, it's scooped up now. I mean, it's a very scary situation that they find themselves in here rather consistently. A bit awkward on some of these exchanges, and I see them have to tuck tail and make what could feel like a very telegraphed move towards this A side. That's what we're going to see here, is them just try and make their run of things out towards A. And with a tough timing on the jiggles. Continue to try and poke forward. Here comes the flashes into the site. Help on the scene here with the AK at the availability, but Cameron is quick on the shot. That's going to save them a lot of concerns here.
Yeah.
Bomb should be planted. Tyra still available with an AK of his own. Scorchy the same. And inching their way past the truck angle, pushing past the smoke. The risk pays off.
Cameron's tucked pretty effectively here, but he could get caught. He has to be careful. Oh, Tyra's overlooking it, but Cameron still hasn't looked up. Oh, now he does. He gets 1. Trying to get the quick second. Can he find it?
Oh!
Yes, he can. Oh, my goodness. What a clutch from Cameron. Hides in the shadows with 6 points of health and gets both players with a surprise attack. Oh, my goodness. F5 somehow pull their way out of that. Again, an exceptionally expensive round, but they'll be happy to have a 3-0 lead regardless. Goodness me.
Yeah, that is a massive lifeline right there. They're going to breathe a big sigh of relief after that one. Hanging in by a thread. We're able to close things down. Molly taking a lot of damage off of Baylor. They're going to keep things basey here, but Signal setting his life on the line. In this case, not for a cause of any concern here. There's a Bones trade and a follow-up frag here. All of a sudden, the round is on, but there's still that presence being posted up in the back of barrels, and JS Feldner, he surely has this one dead to rights. No trade out of Bones. His campaign gets put to an end, and Jeremy quickly traded afterwards as well. There you have it. Much needed victory there. InControl going to deny the Russian with the close nature of these last couple of rounds. The money is definitely contained here.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised that F5 even had a fight to be put up there, given the way that round was playing out. InControl getting the first two, looking really solid on the hold, and then Bones comes out of nowhere to get two. JS Feltner actually makes a brilliant play by pushing towards that smoke, because if he doesn't, he's probably dead. But because he does, he gets in on the flank. They don't realize he's there, and he's able to string two together relatively easily. I say relatively because the second one was actually a little bit challenging, but there wasn't really the realization in time for F5. Okay, Kermie. All right. I see you. Ayanu gone. Headshot found, and Kermie's waiting for a second one, but eventually pulls off the angle. 5v4 gain for F5. We're trying to go fast today, and honestly, this isn't a bad idea. Cameron could catch this player here towards long, but no, he doesn't. And Scorchy gets that shot with the AWP onto Nate. A follow-up on Bones. Not easy against these pistols with the AWP. Then he pulls out a pistol of his own. It's all Scorchy taking care of business with a 4K, and InControl will jump up to 2 rounds.
They needed a C right there. Do an early shot from Kermie, putting a scare on you. Everything kept contained. He's looking comfortable here. This is a CT side that we know they need to lift out on. Didn't have the most success. They were capped off at 3 rounds. Could get that here and now early on in the half. But what we've seen so far is kind of every round looking competitive. Early angle taken. Tyra with all the time in the world. JS Felder with a follow-up frag. The trade a little bit nervy from Signal, but he's going to stretch out and secure things here. Was nervous about the op, understandably so. Scorchy. It's the right read on the angle. Trying to escape now. He is stuck in front bath. Going in for some extra assistance. His teammates are getting taken down. He flashes himself. Oh, no. Oh. That is devastating here. Bones has a cutoff and connector as well. Hello. That's a wake-up call there for JS Feltner. And Ayler has a smoke. No damage dealing utility here. Could be overlooked in this campaign through the smoke. Not going to happen. F5 dominate their way through the round there after losing the 2 opening picks as well.
That is unfortunate for Scorchy, flashing himself in that angle. The reinforcements unable to strike true, and a 5v3 evaporates so quickly. It's, I think Tyra overstaying his welcome towards mid. He didn't have to, and he kind of looked a little like a deer in headlights at a certain point, and gets found out. And by that point, sure, it's still a 4v3 advantage, but you can feel F5 surging upwards, and once they catch, I think it was Alor trying to support, then Scorchy caught out with the AWP, can't do much of anything, flashes himself, and you know, they're not hurting them. They're not helping their own cause, I should say, kind of tripping over their own feet. Either way, a little bit of a duel happening in the opening moments. Tyra takes a bit of damage. Bones and Nate the same. As it stands, F5 still haven't gained too much ground. They have playground, and I should say party control. Aylor hesitant to go up through connector as a result, just holding the line with the MP9.
Keep things collected here in connector. Positioning from JS Feldner is going to spot one out early. That is a lot of chaos caused in the round for that frag alone, and you still have that interesting connector positioning here. Cameron thinking this is clear by the flank, and that is going to lead to a double up. Very confident in this positioning, but didn't really have the full picture painted until it was way too late.
That's really great patience from Mailer as well. Talked about him waiting in connector, decided not to push up, and that's a huge benefit for him. It's not over yet, though. Signal walking out. Signal not going to win the fight. Aylor doing it pretty much all by himself. JS Feltner helps him out at the end, ensures the trade comes through. And InControl not going to go down as easily as they did in the previous engagement with F5. continue to look strong. Even though they've run into some speed bumps along the way. But right here, looks like we'll have a tied scoreline unless we see something special from F5 with these pistols. And okay, I take it all back. They are full sending it right now. A force buy coming through at a surprising moment. 2 Tech 9s, the P250, a Galil, and an AK. Interesting. Didn't expect that. Being up 4-3 and probably would have been a better choice to save the money, but maybe this could work out. We'll see.
What they have at their disposal here. Last time they had a scrappy purchase on the bonus. They called in for an all-in B rush. Maybe looking at something similar in this one, but no, they're going to head in towards long A, and they're not really going to feel any pressure right now coming through on the other end of the server here. It's slow contact walking. They're identifying no resistance right now. I hope you breathe a little easier. There comes a molly. Try and slow down some of the positioning. Jump spotting still.
Oh my god, yeah.
Coming through here as well.
There's like a jackrabbit here. Jumping all the way around. Eventually, he gets spotted out by the Tech 9. This is a really good approach from F5, but Ayanu and Scorch will at least get a couple.
Ooh.
Although they both get cleaned out. Upgrades available here for F5. They're all over the ground. Rifles now on the board for everyone. Kermi will get wiped out by JS Donner, but he does do a lot of damage before he falls. And there's the trade. Signal will fall, and Aelor gets a 2K. InControl will tie things up at 4. What a recovery from Aelor with only 11 HP left to speak of after he gets that clutch.
Felt like there was absolutely no room to breathe right there on that attack, but semblance of a hold there shown out early. Ends up looking a whole lot stronger in the end. A huge sigh of relief there, as that could have been one of those key moments that you look back on there where an integral part in the game, you have a chance to break the economy and leave them remembering what it felt like to play you on Overpass the last time around. You dominated this T side. So the clutch breaks through. And Control are going to break that mark that they got left on just a couple days ago here. It's some tough timing here. Rifle backs away and the op shot misses. So they're going for a snake strategy here. Oh, well, they thought they were. It's just Cameron that's left as a lurk. Definitely playing confident as that first op shot rattles off by him. And now has to deal with it a very committal setup. The issue with this setup, though, I feel like oftentimes is that you got to worry a lot about long.
Yeah.
Seems to be no concern. There's no rotates here. They're on the jump spot. Flashbang avoided. They're going to try and run in, but it is a complete mow down. These pistols get no ground.
InControl going to take a lead. Bones doesn't have the bomb. No chance. Can save the armor, I suppose. But I feel like you want the loss bonus instead. Because you're going to get more than you save out of this round. So I think he just has to take a fight. Nothing on the ground for you, Bones. I mean, it's just your teammates' guns. There he goes. Walks out. Down the corner. Scorch, he dead. There's an op. That's a huge prize. They're going to chase him down without a doubt. But they don't have the money to kind of waste here either. So need to be careful on this approach. Oh, Bones holding his nerve. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no! But they chase him down and find him anyway. Aelor will get the shot through onto Bones, and he gets his loss bonus, but won't take home the prize of the AWP.
Lets it slip out to the wrong hands. At least sends him a little parting gift before he heads out of the round there with the P250. That'll be the end of his campaign here. Timeout called from the T side. Definitely feeling the weight of this pressure weighing on them. Had some close rounds, had some key clutches, but now so too have InControl, and they're going to take a lead on the defense here. You just want to try and push past the mark, though. Find your comfort here on this T side. Get a couple extra rounds as leverage.
Jeremy boosting up his teammate. Ooh, they don't get the spot yet. It's not really being watched, so maybe they find something. No one really showing themselves yet. Oh, there's the jump spot. A little ambitious there, Cameron, I'll have to say, on the shots from the AK. But they do get the information at the very least. There goes the nade. That'll be actually into the void. No one's playing towards Toxic as it stands. Cameron. Just defaulting with the rest of his squad. No one really making a move here except for Nate. He's the one trying to make his way towards the A site, lurking in this position. Or maybe just trying to catch rotations to connector. Either way, there's going to be soon 45 seconds left on the clock. And F5 have yet to make a move, nor do they look like they're set up to make a move just yet. It's going to have to be quick to get this utility in the right spot. There isn't much of it either.
They made two here, trying to way forward. The smoke. Here comes the pop, and it's immediate dismissal here. Full spray from Ayler. Has a little bit of ammunition here left, but eventually topples over. 15 seconds on the clock here. Still more to deal with. Bones risking it all for the plant, but that should be an easy deny from JS Feltner. Surfaces out of the smoke. In for the closing kills right there. Another excellent B-side defense there as F5. Trying to look a little bit flashy. Trying to show up with a poppy play, but it gets absolutely devastated. They're shut down.
I mean, I don't mind that play, quite honestly, if you have more utility. Like waiting down to like the 25-second mark and going for a play like that. But only having 4 pieces available to you and expecting a positive result is just ambitious, to say the least. Anyway, F5. We'll be on to Tech 9s and a Deagle here. 3 players have body armor. This time, again, only a few pieces of utility available to them. And they will slowly approach B in the early moments, but I feel like just going to be a quick pop. They're going to try to send it and hope for the best. That is exactly what's going to happen. They will get the worst, more than likely. JS Feltner, along with Aylor, taking care of business. Cameron does get one, but I wouldn't get too excited about that, as his teammates have all fallen, and he will as well. 7-4 for InControl.
Comforting on this CT side compared to what they were able to bring last time around. We'll slow down the roll. Still on for an 8th. See what they have here. Left in the tank. Trying to make a move. The smoke tire at the ready. Flashman goes down. Scorchy backing up his teammate. Oh, they're back to back there. As I think Tyra was trying to avoid flashes.
Yeah, it was anti-flash for sure.
And hands over his back for a freebie. That's a bit of a frustrating death to take. And now lurking out towards A. Kermie calling things clear. This is suspicious.
Kermie has B. And oh my god, does it even matter?
Wow.
Nate gonna take care of 2 into connector. 4v2 for F5. Scorchy sprinting towards the B site. Kermie ready to cut him off. This is such an unfavorable round here for InControl. I feel like Scorchy's probably dead before he has a chance to activate at all. Yeah, he's got to be dead. Kermie's going to keep his corner in a moment. There you go. Ayenu does get 1, but he is now known. Nate's coming in. He's down to 23. The spam is attempted. He's got a full belt of util. we'll even have time to use it is another question. Yes, he backs off here. There's one flash thrown. He's still got another and an incendiary. But eventually this time will likely take away on the bomb. Bones is watching for this. The spam is through. Great flashbang tossed. Ayanu, there's just nothing he can really do. And there's still another flash left for F5. There he falls. Signal takes care of it. Another 7-5 lead for InControl as we head to the halftime break. All right, we're back getting ready for the second half of action. F5 recovering for a round at the end. I mean, more than just a recovery. That was very convincing on their T side in that last round. Flashes of what we saw in their previous engagement against InControl, but a lot less effective than they were. No 9-3 lead this time. In fact, InControl getting, I'd say, the minimum 7 rounds you require on CT side to be competitive here on Overpass.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not as dominant of a T side here, but getting that last little round to be able to take advantage of is definitely going to be a confidence builder here. It's still going to, likely going to be a half that they're looking forward to. Hopping into on the defense, pistol underway, fast B play. No hesitation here coming through out of this T side, and no reason to, and they find 4 kills. Oh my god, it's a stack on B that folds over like a lawn chair and InControl rip away an opening pistol. That was instant.
Okay. InControl out here to make a statement, it seems, and wanting to send this one to a third map of Nuke is where we'll end up if we get there. It's still only the pistol round. But F5 don't want anything to do with this following one. That is one of the quickest pistol rounds I think I've seen in a very long time. At least in terms of the fights, right? Like, as soon as they go on to B, it's over in an instant. I think that took maybe 2.5 seconds of firing the pistols before InControl won that round. Either way, I think the crazier element is that all 5 players were there for F5 and they just couldn't do anything. And again, all 5 players will be here for F5 if InControl decide to go B. But they do have a lurk going A, and if they find out it's clear, which they're about to, they may just rotate off this. Because you don't need to take a fight if you got an open bomb site available to you. Yeah, they're just waiting to see what Tyra's going to find, and this rotation is almost certainly going to come through.
They can't bring that.
It's weird that they're still going B.
They got Tyra in heaven. How much can he gather? He's kind of identifying a lot of presence. Not saying that the water's nice here, though, that's for sure. And there's some lessons to be learned. They're still brute forcing it. Okay, the totem pole comes tumbling down now. And there you go. There's the rest of the frags. They're dug right there with you. A bit of a questionable approach there, but at least in the end, they're able to close things out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go B there. You have A, and there's plenty of time. If there were maybe like only 30 seconds left, I'd understand, okay, you still got to send it B, but there was a minute, almost a minute on the clock for them to rotate, and they decide not to. Lost a couple of bodies that they might not have. They had just gone to the other site, but it doesn't matter. It's a round victory for them, and that's what they're thinking about right now. F5 will bring out the guns. 4 M4s and an MP9 in the mix. Nades going back and forth. That's the damage we've seen so far. Cameron taking more of it than a Yenu. Or Ionu, I should say. Either way. Will be F5 taking the space here in towards party, and connector control gained as well. This is a lot for them to find here in the early round.
Early positioning here, but losing out on some key resources. Right now, entry found by INU, and now this boost has to pay dividends. There's a nice pickup. We get a cheeky little run boost out of it. And dismount. A smoke tossed in towards Sands just at the right time here, just when you need it most. Trying to slow down this approach. There goes a follow-up frag. Kermit pushing past the smoke. Has a lot more to deal with. Up close and personal. It's a small timing, a window of opportunity. Perfectly thread in. By Scorchy. The chaos here in the heat of the moment. And try and shuffle those rotates as much as possible. I'm going down. Looking for a flank opportunity here.
Yeah. Will the flank ever activate? Is the question. Taylor trying to pull a Cameron. Scorchy takes care of Nate. JS Feltner finds Bones, and Scorchy will get signal. InControl, not too fussed on the hold. A 3K for Scorchy. 10 to 5 for InControl. F5 just looking like they're clocked out here of Overpass.
I'm right there with you. Really tough position to find yourself in. I mean, still have a hope of a CT side to recover, but when he's constantly feeling slightly off, gonna need a round like this to inspire them back into this game. Otherwise, F5 will just take over control. There's a nice pickup from Bones. A labored trade out of the MP7, but at least it's there. Forces the reposition. Jeremy took the early utility. They have that short control early, and so with that, they also take connector control. Allows for some quick rotates. Jeremy trying to spot out on the long side, and it's going to be up to INU to cut off these rotates here, make sure they can't float around the map effectively here. Skirmy's eliminated. That's the A side open, and largely going to be the round tier confirmed. INU is doing a great job of cutting off those connector rotates.
We need a surprising round here from F5. Maybe Signals Mag 7, that's all that's left now. And no, nothing at all. I mean, that's just clinical from InControl. 11-5 now in their favor. 2 more rounds, and this one is all wrapped up. It'll take a full recovery from F5 here, not dropping a single round if they want to win in regulation.
Don't get me wrong, they've had some good moments on this map here before, but at this point, gonna be feeling it on the outside looking in. Timeout expires. They're right back into the thick of things here. That's what they have left in the tank. Up in the mix. This is, the best looking gun round that we're going to see. Win it here. Didn't get to really see those full investments come into fruition, but this time around they'll have that solid firepower to work through. So as you said, I mean, this has got to be their final stand here on this map. If they've got any effort in the comeback, it's got to come through here and now.
Or a nice defense here from F5 if they want to take this round and keep hope alive. Signal's already taken a lot of damage. InControl tossing in the util looking pretty potent. Their Signal's been fully blinded for about a full 5 seconds, and then he will get one actually. Maybe even a follow-up. Yeah, Signal's good for 2. Still alive in this smoke.
Oh
eventually he's found out. 2 frags come through absolutely instantaneously. Kermi, the last one alive here. Over in heaven, spots out Tyra, I believe, around that corner, and he gets one. Transferring for the second. Kermi almost does it, but Tyra will end his attempt. And InControl do indeed secure a 12th. Things are now dire for F5. 7 rounds in a row required just to keep us on Overpass and send it to overtime. Otherwise, Nuke is quickly approaching.
Trying to take us there to this decider. InControl. This is a map they could go back and look at and try and iron away at what went wrong last time around here. And their next opportunity, they're able to pull through with a little bit more success. They look to strike forward. There's an opening pick, eyeing you. We get the first frag here. This would be a taste of their own medicine if you're at 5. A 13-5 scoreline is what they beat them on this map just a couple days ago. Be careful with the reload signal. How much ammo do you think he has left? I don't know. It's got to be running out.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's sometimes hard to recall the fact that the reloads have changed, right? And if you reload, you lose an entire magazine. The bullets are gone into the void. Tyra and Aelor grouping up here for a hit towards the B site. Signal had 2 previously. He's going to need more than that here to try and help his team come out to victory. If he doesn't get a single one, certainly in a bit of trouble. There's the one. Ooh, but the trade immediate. Camera waiting around the corner. 20 seconds left. Time is against this InControl squad, but they don't care. They keep pushing on forward. Will they expect 2 more here at Sandbags? I don't know. That is a very good question that I ask myself, and then I get the answer. No! Cameron will get the 2K. And F5 stay alive for at least 1 more round. I'm going to breathe a little bit easier right there.
It's a necessary victory to buy a little bit more time on this map of Overpass. Now can they pull together something special on this comeback effort that's going to be required? See what they have stored in that department. Going to hang in there. A couple shots rattling off on the edge of the smoke. Spam coming through there into the mix as well. There's an opening pick. Cameron able to provide it, taking over that short control. Absolutely necessary. That's something you like to see being brought into the mix early.
Yeah, InControl taking a lot of time in that previous round, I think too much. And that's why they get caught out in a bit of a panic trying to get towards the site. And InControl just had the pieces, excuse me, F5 had the pieces in the right place to rebuff. Take care of it. Ayanu and Scorch, you get a couple though. This could end right here. Cameron needs to come out big, and he will again. 2K for Cameron. Finally shut down, 2v2, but the HP advantage is there for F5, and they will drop Aelor, but Tyra comes out with a big one to make it a 1v1. 17 HP left, 34 seconds. He can run to A, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Kermie hot on his heels, as Tyra just wants to get this bomb planted anywhere as quickly as possible, and he will do exactly that. Now he's going to slip into bank. Tyra could end it all with one shot to the head of Kermie with this AK-47. Kermie, oh, I don't know if he wanted to make that noise. Tyra's going for the fight, but Tyra loses it. Kermie will not even take any damage in that engagement, and F5 stay alive, getting a 7.
What a massive relief right there that is. Hanging in there when it matters most, able to provide his team a bit more life here. We're down into these crunch time rounds and able to close them down. By no means they want to try and piece things together on a consistent basis here, but making things one step at a time is all that matters. Now the money kind of leveled out a little bit here. Eastside economy not looking too promising.
Opposite system that InControl win. Tyra gonna get the AK shot in the trade up against Signal. Incendiary flies in, but the util goes in from the other side as well. InControl. An AK picked up. There's the win again from Tyra, trading out his teammate's death, but an advantage gained for F5. Cameron putting on the pressure, hits the shots. Only one player left, Ayenu. And he will get a headshot, but it's not enough for a kill, and Kermie ends it. F5 convert again off of what was just a light buy here, coming through from InControl. But still, now they're 4 rounds away from sending it to OT.
Keep on chugging along. Timeout called from InControl side of things as it start to feel a little bit more real. Four rounds on the defense, by no means a massive stretch. So going to slow down the pace of these rounds and try and call it a breather. So far the site holding together, but I will say, if you're F5, you're still super reliant on the clutch factor right now, being able to save you. So there shouldn't be too many concerns for InControl, knowing that they're putting themselves in positions to win round. They just need that last push, close things down, take us to a third map. You see Chi, good molly, take over, short control from JS Feldner. Everyone flashed up. It's a quick peek has a small window of opportunity to claim that kill, and there's a jump spot. And they're identifying here. Going to go for a different assembly on the boost. It's being watched. Absolutely nailed to the wall right there. Ayler has his crosshair posted exactly where it needs to be.
That's a nice shot. And now, InControl have the 5v4 they've been looking for the last few rounds. Smoke's going to go in. Monster tunnel re-smoked. Flashbang out for nade, and doesn't see anything, and he'll fall back. That's what InControl wanted. A little bit of a peek around that corner, but they were not able to capitalize off of it. Scorchy watching with the op. F5 waiting patiently for InControl to arrive. They're thinking A, and now they're thinking B. They're not sure where to go. As it stands, it's kind of split up in terms of their attention. Nate looking for information. This is very late into the round with, again, limited utility available. 19 seconds left, and it's probably all going to go wrong here. It already does in the first step forward.
Oh.
Ayenu traded out. Oh, it doesn't go wrong at all. I take it all back. Ayenu getting 2. Jans Feltner 1 with very little time left on the clock. Kermie is their last bastion of hope, spamming around through the smoke, hoping to connect with something, but getting absolutely nothing, and finally will fall to dirt. It will be InControl, sending us to a third map.
Able to take it here. A hard-fought effort, but JS Feldner stepping up to the plate big time in this map that will decide whether they live or die in this grand final, and they move forward into this decider here. Big pickup here. This is what's necessary for this team to show up on. They have to land the adjustments after losing their map selection, having to come back on a map that they got dominated 13-5 just a couple days ago. They're able to show up with that much more effort and take us into this decider. We hop in there after this short break.
All right, we're back here getting ready for the third map of play, and it will be Nuke. A surprising and quite easy, I would say, win for InControl and Overpass, despite a little bit of, let's say, challenges coming through at the end of it. They still cruised that finish line, and it made it look easier than they did in that previous affair, obviously, since they lost it 5-13.
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed with the resiliency, the ability to get your head back in this series after a frustrating loss, and on Mirage, and you know, as you said, including your recent track record versus this squad, it's good to get right back on track here as you enter into another matchup. So, looking promising for an attempt at a recovery, and you know, trying to get into a closing finish line with what they looked on Overpass here, having this Nuke option as a decider. You got kind of new ground to play up against with all the confidence to back it up.
Yeah, and I think looking at the MVP now, I believe JS Feltner was one of the best players there. There were a few that we could necessarily highlight, but I feel like he was the one that really came through with some very quick, very key plays. And yeah, there we go. So he is the one as the MVP. 24 kills, 102.2 ADR, and KST of 90.5%. That is actually kind of ludicrous.
Yeah, I thought just consistent all over the map here for them in this in that last map, and you definitely felt it in some of those key moments and some of those clutch rounds. Just felt like he was all over the place, being able to thrive for this roster. Now they got themselves a map away from closing things out. You look at a player like JS Feldner to try and replicate those results. They'll be sitting pretty at an opportunity to try and claim themselves victory here and enter into the tougher competition that is those North American finals, you know, where you play up against the previous winners, where you get to challenge yourself versus the best of the best. That's where this team wants to be, and JS Feldner is one of the leading members of this squad when it comes to experience at this level, and he's showing it right now.
And if you're looking over at that regional final to see who's already qualified, it's M80 from Cup number 1. That is going to be a tough customer. And then Chicken Coop after that, also a pretty solid squad, winning Cup number 2. So yeah, I feel like either of these teams is going to have their hands full, whichever one qualifies, but still, like, the fact that you even get there is saying something.
No doubt about it there. Shows the level of consistency that you're able to bring to the mix, and that's kind of what you're after here, to be able to develop and show out. So, I mean, getting closer and closer to that mark with this map victory can be a big catalyst here for this side of InControl. But now, I mean, look at what this counterparts need to do to kind of get their head back in the game, because, you know, obviously they had some recent success here in F5. We want to see again some of the more flashy pieces of the puzzle show up. We watched a full team effort come through there in that opening map, and it felt super comfortable. You saw Kermie lead the pack and had some moments and some opportunities, but couldn't find that consistent success. I think a lot of it coming down to decision making there, and you know, the decision on investments like the aggressive force buying and stuff like that, costing them quite a bit. We'll see if they can try and find a better track record now.
And as you just saw, F5 winning the knife round, which means they get to choose sides, and they immediately choose CT side, which makes sense on a map like Nuke, because that is usually the favored side in terms of rounds won. But however, for F5, it's actually not favorable for them. 45.9% of those CT rounds are victories, and it's actually 58.3% are T round victories. So I guess they're just going CT side, hoping they can have a better performance, and then if they do, they'll go over to their technically favored side of T and have an advantage. They do get the opening frag, but the B side is open and free for the taking.
Take it over quickly here, JS Feltner. Able to provide that much. Nice little opening duel here for his troubles. Numbers punched in here now, but here comes the full T side rushing in for some extra security. And that is exactly what they're going to find here. Still 2v2 though. It's on and Signal Look at the secure things. They're chasing this kill down. Good thing he does because his teammate falls in the meantime. Kermie left with no kit. It walked right over the bomb right there, unbeknownst to him. 10-second defuse. Feeling too far out of the picture now.
That's over now.
And he's going to get the swing he's hoping for, but no kit available. Being surrounded is confirmed.
I mean, that's just a play to make money at that point, right? Because you know you've lost the round by holding that angle, and I mean, there's just very small window of opportunity when you have that full 10-second defuse required. InControl will win the opening pistol. And now F5 will be forcing up. They've got an MP7, 3 MP9s, and the 5.7 afforded to them. A little bit of utility on the other side for InControl. A lot of utility. They opt for the SMGs instead of going for rifles. 2 MP7s in the MAC-10. A couple of Galils in the mix, but they do that in order to get a ton of utility. And they've almost got full utility belts for everyone.
Pro on that utility. Forced by staying scrappy, but the positioning looking a bit fierce. So a symbol in the heavens already. Not sure what you even do at this point in time with this sort of positioning. In a 5v5 like this. I feel like you're left to shrug your shoulders. There's a couple of opening duels. The CT side realizing the hard way that this is a little too much space to bear. As Feldner hunting these frags down, drops off the ladder, and somehow threads a needle in between those two players. Surely not. Surely not. Whoa. Ah. Super awkward angle to try and work through right there. Ends up getting the better of him. Nice damage though, all things considered. That was a very dicey round that ends up offering a lot of promise. Take what you can get there. And just put the pressure on. Quite capitalized, but you get yourself a full eco. Anyway, InControl likely moving forward to that 0-3 before F5 are finally able to paint the picture.
Yeah, this is not the start that F5 were hoping for. Bones. Ooh, a chance at a kill there, but JS Feltner reacts quickly enough. Yeah, this one's already over. 2 players remaining. They're on the outside looking in. JS Feltner coming around into heaven. Good spotted a player, maybe? I don't know. Okay, Nate. This is a freebie. Nate should get 1 at least. Yeah, there you go. Now he's known, but an AK picked up. Trying to slip into heaven. He won't be able to. JS Feltner's ready for that fight immediately. And now it's only Nate left, but he's got the most potent gun in the round. He's going to get a second for himself. But he will get traded, and that'll do it.
Draft right there, able to take down all the firepower. Force a couple of reinvestments. Over the grand scheme of things here, not too big a deal. Shaping up fairly confident. So you see another attempt to roll out here. A bit of a traffic jam. And up and towards the heavens. You see that A utility, your heart starts to beat a little bit faster. Fear of that rush coming through there. Fortunately not the case.
I was already down in the secret, though. And this is a problem for F5. Because that's a lot of map that they don't have any handle on right now. Kermi gonna connect some damage onto Ayenu, but falls back immediately and then throws the smoke. I don't mind that play at all. Because now he's made it difficult for InControl to continue pushing towards the B site. It's not a smoke that you see very often. Usually they've already tossed it for trophy by that point. Yeah, well, Tyra spotted out Bones, who's looking the wrong way, and his outside was not being watched by Signal. That is a bit of a miscommunication that could cost F5 the round, because now, like, the only thing that stands in the way of InControl and this site is Signal himself. He's gonna get mollied off, or not mollied off, smoked off. Tyra somehow wins that fight, and then Signal will get the trade. But, I mean, this round already feels like it's over, Cole.
Also looking in, is there any ocean pack into this conversation? Watching as it fades away. There's a kit in play for Signal, and he is in heaven, but how often do you see these sort of late defuses have a chance? And the HE reveals his hand very clearly that he's still close by. So yeah, that's going to queue up for a back away. Decision has to be made. Gonna play it safe. Call it quits.
Yeah, that was just a bit of an oversight on the defense for InControl, or for F5, excuse me. No one's watching outside, and clearly, you know, a player that was in mini thought he was safe and didn't have to worry about an outside push, and that was not the case at all. Tyra gets a freebie, and by that point, you know, InControl just storming into A, and there isn't much of a defense left because they found all the gaps. So I think F5 make the right choice. They fall back, they save their guns. They were hoping to hold players on the site by tossing that utility in a little bit late, but it just doesn't work out. I mean, it's a desperate attempt to try and do some more damage to your opponents, and it doesn't really bear any fruit. 4-0 for InControl. Money's building up nicely. So are the rounds.
Conversation here. F5 eager to do so with 3 rifles saved. They're not gonna be without their weapons. They got their utility as well to back it up, so still a good opportunity to get a quick round here or there. Again, finding themselves with very minimal resistance here. Hey, looking to make a move and blocked in the smoke right there. That is miserable timing for him.
Oh, man.
Tyra just sees him poking through, sees a gun barrel. Absolutely betrayed right there by the weaponry. Now this ramp side is getting pressured, and Camry can't contain it. You try and react by taking lobby control. You get absolutely destroyed here. What's the next step? Right now it feels like everything that InControl are doing is the right move. Even this decision to kind of double back in towards is an interesting one, and Scorchy just letting the play come to him. 2 picks with open arms, and I think Signal might have been spotted. Yeah, look at the hard clear from JS Feltner. No hesitation. I mean, barely any damage taken here for InControl, really. There was no fair gunfights whatsoever for F5.
I mean, the patience from InControl was the key to a couple of those frags, right? Like, they just wait in lobby, and it's hand-delivered. Bones, last one available, and you feel like F5 were trying to force things a little bit too much right now. In terms of going for those fights and trying to get on flanks that just aren't even existing. Bones, sure, saves the M4, but like this is another clean round from InControl, which means the money is just going to be absolutely fantastic. 2 players above the 10K mark. They won't have too many reinvestments to go into. Some utility, I guess, but that's it. Goodness me. All right, well, no op available for F5. M4s for everyone. On the other side, well, InControl have whatever they want. The money is there, and they even have to rebuy guns. Oh, that's a little careless from Tyra. He should have been punished. They should have punished him, and they're going to regret missing out on that opportunity. Aylor finds Cameron. J.S. Feltner gets Bones. This attempted aggression towards outside is completely falling away, and Nate almost gets himself a couple. If he did, maybe we're back into a discussion for this round, but only one will likely not cut it.
6-0 what they're facing here if there's no more heroics. Are we on the site? His teammate down beneath him, I believe. No, just walking about towards that outer yard here. Either way, Signal trying to defend this A side of the map, and he's going to get a freebie. Drops off, looking for the multi. Tyra spots him in a reposition. Now, Jeremy in the heavens can get involved, but really good route. Well, I'm just going to dive down the vents. Rest of the team not so fortunate just yet to join them. Signal looking for more active moves. Now at 2v2 as the bomb gets punched down. It's Jeremy on the scene.
Oh, the nade.
HE to land a blast here. J.S. Feltner down to 3 HP. Barely hanging in there by a thread. Hoping his teammates can bail him out, but Jeremy checking corners. Just a little bit of life here. Overlooks the control side. Tyra able to deal with the pressure here. Signal with no kit and none available. Needs to complete this clutch with a 4K. Just has to stick it for a 10-second defuse. And yeah, it is easy pickings there. Tyra not going to hesitate on the swing. And then InControl still rip away a 6, although it's again close.
Well, close or not, InControl have swept every single round in their favor. I mean, look, Signal, I can't blame him for trying to go for the stick, but yeah, the cover wasn't there, and Tyra had multiple angles he could have found him from, whether he's playing from econ or double doors or even above in the upper B. You know, he was dead to rights, and I guess Signal kind of knew it, so he just took the gamble and hoped that he wouldn't get peeked, but he did. Bones going to be playing towards outside here with Nate. This time they're not going for as aggressive posturing as they had previously. They're trying to mix things up, to their credit, you know, to make a spark come through and get around in their favor. And they almost pulled back a 4v2 in that previous one. We can't forget that. But again, they need something to go their way. And look at this early damage. It's not great. Nate takes even more from the nade, down to 23. An opening frag would help nullify some of that. Some of that damage, that is. Ooh, maybe they'll get an opportunity. I mean, InControl are everywhere, and Scorchy's in a very tough angle. Like, you don't want to be here for too long because you can easily get shut down. But he's got the support of his teammates, so maybe that's what's giving him confidence. Trade comes in. Even numbers still. That'll actually help out F5 because they lose one of their lowest players, and now Bones gets a response as well. J.S. Feltner gone 4v3 despite Bones going down to 2 HP. He's still alive, and that's what counts with only 33 seconds left.
Smokes have faded with the bomb still in the outer yard. This is complicated. What is the next step here? There's a lot of noise being made down lower. Kermy not going to flank because of it. Look at this threat of a timing here. Oh, what? Goodness gracious. Spray betrays eyeing you big time. And that's going to simplify matters there. That's how F5 get on the board. A slow burn of a round rate there, but comes out with a strong finish as the dust settles, and honestly some missed opportunities maybe going to be fell right there as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think InControl just kind of got stuck towards outside there for way too long. Like, you're there for almost a full minute kind of waiting for fights. It's not worth it, especially the way they were postured, and eventually they got kind of get chipped away at. You can't really do much of anything in the round, so they're going to try and accelerate here. You can't blame them. There's J.S. Feltner with one, Ayler with another, and keeping it simple seems to be the recipe to success here for InControl. Molotov burning the feet of Nate along with Bones, and they are trapped. Nate's going to get tossed into the smoke. Scorchy spots out Bones but can't finish him off. 3v2
oh, no.
now. And oh, I didn't even notice. Yeah, Nate, excuse me, Gonna get the TK on Bones. That's so unfortunate for InControl. I should say for F5, because InControl, I'm very happy about that. Halo going to get the headshot on Kermi, and that's it. What a ridiculous turn of events. F5 have got to be kicking themselves. They handed a man advantage to InControl.
Ooh, yeah, that's really awkward right there. Not sure what happened, how that lineup occurred, but just a frustrating situation when it's already been so tough to handle. But for InControl, you just love to find a solution like that. You get a really slow burn towards the outer yard, where honestly you spend the whole round defaulting and hoping for overextensions. Obviously, you spot the player and back a big, so that intrigues just about everyone to try and hunt down that frag. But you don't take any other map control, and that leaves you with limited options. And in the next breath, the next round, when things finally go wrong for you, you get the easiest call of all time. Just rush A and make things easy. Find the entries, trade things out, hold up in the post, and then you get the extra benefit of a TK right there as a cherry on top.
All right, InControl. Living up to their namesake again here tonight. AWP, a couple of M4s, an MP9, a FAMAS. Not the prettiest of buy-ups here for F5. Gonna try and make it work. Man, it's just slim pickings in terms of frags on their end too. Like, no one's really been able to stand up and deliver much of anything. They're not getting that key kind of individual effort they need as a spark. Maybe this round will change that. Nate, an interesting spot with the MP9. There's the first, gets back into cover. Still about half health left. Throws the incendiary down. Shoulder showing. Nate is out. Comes around, and Tyra will clothesline him with the AK bullets. 4v4, 1 minute remaining on the clock. Ayano just drifts out to his death. Signal will take care of that. And now it is a man advantage for F5, but look where Tyra has gone. He has slipped all the way towards the B side, although he is only one of 2 remaining members alive now. This could be the key spot that leads to victory. Why, he slipped out of the fence. Oh, Cameron.
Okay.
Cameron.
Oh, no!
Oh, no! How does that happen?
Oh,
no! What is this? Scorchy gets Cameron when it felt like he had a sure thing, and then Tyra takes care of Signal, who goes in for the trade. Oh my goodness. 2v2. Is it happening again for InControl? It feels like F5 just keep on stepping in the wrong directions round after round. Bones holding the line with the AWP. Kermi around the corner. Kermi's
my
gone.
God.
It's only Bones left. There is no way this 4v2 is gonna slip away like this. Yeah, it will. What a flashbang. Bones is dead. There's no chance. He does get one onto Scorchy, but there's no way he's gonna figure out where Tyra is in time. He does not. Unbelievable round. InControl get an 8th.
I mean, it feels like I'm watching a cartoon and seeing these
Yes.
rounds, dude. The timings that are being you actually cannot believe it. One crawls out the vents. He gets around the Tetris, of course, just in time for you to have to get out of the cubby and chase him. It would have been better if you let him pass, because then maybe you have a chance. But instead, you hand your back over to his teammate.
It's just
a disaster scenario. If you're F5, you're gonna watch back that round and just be miserable. It doesn't even feel like, you know, you can't highlight much going or much being like wrong or anyone in the fault right there. It is just brutal timing, and it's just compounding in this deciding map.
Yeah, 5v3 now. I mean, they're tilted. You have to imagine going for this force buy here. They didn't have to, but they do anyway. Okay, Scorchy standing in that windowsill for a little too long. Signal gets one. Got something cooking here for F5. Indeed we do. Tyra gone as well. Bomb still secure. And Signal, well, eventually he gets found out. Is there a second player here? It's Kermi. He's also known. So maybe all that excitement will fizzle away here for F5, and indeed it does. 3v1 Cameron, the only one left. He's on the outside looking in. Gonna creep up down from ramp, so maybe he can get something done here. A surprise attack onto a Yenu, but the bomb's already planted, and that makes his life so much more difficult.
Gonna continue to keep things complicated here. He's overexposed here. Everyone watching closely. And able to claim that finishing kill. Do get a little bit interesting there for a short time, but quickly sequencing in the finishing touches there in that round. 1-9 now. In control. For a double-digit P side, and I feel like that is a sign of the times here.
Yeah, and I mean, like, F5 are just forcing to the finish line at this point. I don't know. Kermi. Want to get a Yenu, so that's a nice opener. AK upgrade immediately. Maybe they can do it here. Aggression towards outside. JS Feldner spots out Nate. Trade will come through from Cameron. Okay, still looking promising for the side of F5. Scorchy strikes back with the AWP. Kermi firing away with the AK, but can't keep control of his spray. And Ayler will get that back. Oh, that's a Cameron on a flank. Okay, he's on silo and they win the round. All just like that. Bones going to get the 2K, and F5 have a second.
All right, whatever way you can claim it. Gonna be able to breathe a little easier with a round win like that. Showing up and showing out for another one. Still more work to be done in this. You gotta stay near flawless on your second half, but they're gonna try to end things off with the A play. Like they did the last time they lost the round here. This time a little bit more prepared on the A defense. Showing things out. Leaving them on the outside looking in. Bones already down here looking at a recovery. Bones takes a lot of flack. Survives the exchange and has his teammate go and finish off what he attempted. JS Feldner all alone. Good flash ping right there to keep him at bay. Smoke even better, but through it. Cameron gonna claim the finishing round. F5 give themselves something to hold on to for this second half.
All right, we're back. A 9-3 lead for InControl, and honestly, it could have been a lot worse for F5 with the way things were going, but they finally get 2 at the end and keep some modicum of hope alive as they go into their second half, but that is not the result you want to see starting on the CT side.
No. Painted a pretty picture here for themselves. It's going to be a hard-fought effort if they want to get back into this one here, and going to have to do so. Start off with a pistol round. We'll see what they can bring as they have themselves some utility being brought out into the mix. But F5, I feel like a disaster. Have kind of a heartbreaking round after heartbreaking round in some scenarios. They're going to have to shake off all of that and come through it that much stronger here. Trying to dive down the vents. One player, check that off the list there. That's Signal. Makes the vent dive.
They know.
Now going to try and make a move towards A. Very awkward attack here, but it does net them a little bit of ground. Looking for a bomb plant as well. Nate going to protect from the heavens, and Tyra comes through just a little too late there for them to stop that. Numbers getting punched in. Flashbang being tossed down range. It blinds up his teammate instead. INU has a free back turn, 1 kill claimed, and a trade easily available as well. JS Feltner going to fight down from the heavens, and InControl rip the pistol away.
Yeah, it's not good news for F5. Really could have used the pistol. Really? What is the point of not going for the defusal straight up? Like, what are you trying to pick up off the ground there? Just trolling a little bit? I don't know. Either way, 10-3 in favor of InControl. Bomb plant found, so you have to imagine the force buy is on for F5, and it absolutely will be. 2 Galils, 2 MAC-10s. I guess P250 or maybe a Tech 9. Yeah, Kermie sold some utility to get that Tech 9 in play. You do want it to help with a quicker push around these SMGs. Man, oh man, if you lose this round here, it's likely 12-3, and I mean, your back's up against the wall. Bones taking some space towards outside, and not going to be a faster play for F5. At least not yet. Ira tapping a few shots through, hoping to connect or gain some visibility. As it stands, only utility damage done. Interesting. Slipping their way into secret here. 3 players down for F5. InControl have the bodies here towards A mostly. 1 player at B. That's Ayenu. What are you going to do, Ayenu? He's knocking the right way. Oh, that's going to be tough. This is a really tough fight for him. Yeah, he can't do anything. Gets completely overloaded, and now InControl have lost all that space, and Kermie could strike.
That's very much so understaffed here. You still got this lurking presence. Sneaking around the box. They're looking for more than just a single. He's going to take 2, especially as they tried to fade away. It didn't even look like they wanted to commit. But as they try and backpedal there, it's too little too late. Eventually, he's going to surface on the duel. There's a follow-up frag from JS Feltner to try and scoop up some better weaponry, but the flashman connects. InControl. Hand over a big one to F5. And their ticket punched right back into this conversation here. Still got a long way to go before they can comfortably call it a comeback, but that is a great way to win on your force buy right there.
Yeah, not great for InControl, right? You have the opportunity to convert and potentially cruise to the finish line. Instead, life becomes a lot more difficult. A force buy will come through. 2 MP9s, a Deagle, a 5.7, and a Scout available. Kyra and JS Feltner leading the charge in terms of frags with 16 and 15 respectively on their end. And that nade did quite a bit of damage to Nate. It's going to come through again. Bones gets the opener onto Tyra, then the follow-up on JS Feltner. That helps a lot. Aelor waited for by Kermie, and Kermie will get that despite it being a little bit labored, and even turns the corner ready for the following fight. Again, new last one available, 5v1. This would be the play of the game if he wins this, and it won't even be close. He immediately dies. Fifth round.
The play of the year right there.
Yeah.
If he got out of that situation.
Maybe.
Not going to happen there. And they don't take time to let that smoke fade away or anything of that nature. They're just going to rip that frag out of the hands. Control. I do lose JS Feltner. So I think we got a bit of a technical break. Or technical pause, rather, in the action. But a couple rounds lost in a row here. Going to keep them on default pistols largely, and that's going to complicate the matters for how they finish off this game. Can F5 get their heads back on? And after such a devastating first half, wipe their memory clean and come back stronger.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I mean, even though they do get that force buy victory, they get, you know, the anti-force buy in their favor. Once these guns come out again, I feel like they're going to be in a tough spot. Like, it's still a 4-round deficit, assuming you win here, because that's not a foregone conclusion. It's a high percentage chance, but you never know. They are headed in the right direction. They don't walk towards that ramp where the stack is on. And Tyra, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Just trying to knife someone who goes down the vent? Well, no one will. So that gambit will never materialize into anything. And InControl just not much to save at all except for the 5-7, but I guess they're trying to keep the kill bonus away? I don't know. Maybe looking for exits.
I think anytime you can draw out rounds like these, maybe not the most entertaining viewing experience, but you're talking about, I guess, making every round as difficult as possible here. If you can find exits, that would be massively valuable, and immediately it pays off. Patience rewarded there with an exit. Any extra bomb damage coming through there? Yes, Felder keeping him around. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Bomb blast punishes right there. JS Feltner doing a great job of forcing their hand, sticking them close to that bomb. So as the dust settles, 4 players drop from F5 in what felt like a done deal, a straightforward victory.
That's really impressive. And he talked about it, yes, maybe a little bit boring, but if it yields that many kills, you know, boring or not, that's a very nice result for InControl. The best possible one you can get while still losing the round. And of course, being in an eco yourself, all 4 reinvestments required. Sure, the money is still healthy from F5, but that's not ideal for them. And on the other side, InControl will have rifles for everyone. No AWP available. But M4s and an AK saved over as that AK was scooped up in the lobby fight.
Good. You see, I mean, a little bit of an example here of F5's resilience. This is going to be the ultimate test. So you do got a gun round coming into the mix, and that one's going to determine whether or not I think this comeback is truly on here. If they can close out on this all important gun round, 3 rounds to close the distance, you've got a full head of steam with the momentum to back it up. So I definitely think if F5 can seal this one up and make it look pretty, be a big opportunity. But if not, you know, InControl with the damage that they just did, I mean, that could immediately pay off big time there if they're able to take advantage of that. An interesting conversation for InControl, knowing that that little bit of discipline right there ends up giving you the clear pathway to the finish line.
Indeed. Let's see. Tech pause is over. We're jumping back into the action. And InControl. Convert this round. Get up to 11. And take one step closer to a grand final victory. $8,000 will go right into their back pockets. And of course, a berth into that regional final here in North America, where M80 and Chicken are already waiting. JS Feltner will get the headshot onto Kermi. Aylor gets Knight, and this is looking very nice for InControl indeed. Trade comes in, back and forth we go. Bones, can you survive? He can't. Scorchy takes care of him, and Signal, not good for the trade. Oh my goodness, the damage from the bullets and the nade. He is finished off. Nothing he could really do in that situation. Surrounded from every angle, and InControl will indeed get an 11th.
Yeah, I wanted a simple solution right there. The decision is an all-in play on that A side, right? It can be a very effective measure. It can be a super threatening attack, but in this case, just leads to a quick dismissal and InControl to rip away at an 11th round now. Flashbang drop or tossed already. I don't know if that was on purpose, but a little bit awkward. No going down. Are they going to try and run this back? What is the game plan here? Back to back. Fairly pacey A plays here. Kermi trying to set himself up, but the flash is avoided so perfectly from JS Feltner. He's cutting off control the squeaky side, but they make it through the hut, so opportunity is still available. Scorchy denying some of the chances right there. Able to break through there, trades out 1 for 1. Pressure being put onto JS Feltner as he has to keep his head on a swivel. He's going to flash for Squeaky. Not blinded his signal, but he is finished off. JS Feltner with another massive pickup. Continuing to contain. Looking to be the bait here. Might not be necessary, as Bones is left last man standing, low on HP. He'll be traded with these. And InControl are going to be on series point, grand final point now.
JS Feltner has had a ridiculous map here, and not to mention only this one, back-to-back maps where he's had insane impact. And this is just a player that isn't necessarily always sitting at the top of the scoreboard, but sometimes he has these series where he just looks untouchable. And this is one of them. Luckily for InControl, it's happening in a grand final with $8,000 on the line, so they could not be happier. It's very reminiscent of, you know, his performance up against Farmville and even Regain. He played pretty well in both of those series. Those were both 2-0s, though. This one is potentially a reverse sweep. F5, they're flying up whatever they can. It's going to be 3 Galils and 2 Mac-10s. Tyra in a labored engagement here. Needs to fall off of it and will. Still with his life, but only 21 HP remains. Scorchy looking to support him, and Tyra turning his back on the fight, but it's smoked off, so he's okay. He will retreat. JS Feltner in a key position. And this is where he wants to be. With the way he's played, I think this is where his team wants him to be.
Absolutely no question about that here. He's been provided on a consistent basis. He is the key piece, and he's already found the 2-piece as well. Multi-kill provided, help on the way. INU drops the bomb on the floor of the double doors, and Kermi gonna get double swung. 1-2 punch, though. It's Kermi who's knocking him out.
Oh,
he goes for another.
God.
Talk about a step up from a player this ECL Cup so far. Kermi has revived this team and helped them pave a path to the grand finals, and now he's trying to keep them alive, but the bomb is still dropped on the floor here of the double doors, and JS Feltner knows it. A golden opportunity for him to be the hero and to seal things up now. Doesn't want to find himself in this position, but still can deliver. 1 kill provided, and the follow-up. JS Feltner putting the finisher on here, and InControl will close things out.
Oh my goodness, how appropriate for JS Feltner, who's been the star for them on Overpass and now here on Nuke to cap it off with a 4K and a 1v2 to boot. InControl are your ECL Season 51 Cup number 3 champions, and they will go to the regional final with some money in their pockets as well. That was just a brilliant reverse sweep. A tough first map, but they didn't play badly on map number 1. Like, it was a very close affair where they lose right at the finish line. It was close the whole way, but then once we got to Overpass, and now here on Nuke, they really did take control.
Yeah, it was such a tone shifter right there from the very opening pistol of Overpass. You know, that was the way that they cleaned things up, the way that they were able to, you know, get back on track and kind of upset the trend that F5 were able to bring into the mix. It definitely felt like they were well prepared for this grand final compared to what they brought in that semifinal that you could see where they got sent into the lower bracket, where they had to claw their way back and get back in form here. And that's an important victory here for this team, being able to not only start a map down, knowing what Overpass had to bring last time, being able to come back with a much better form here. A really good run from InControl here, and especially, you know, the previous matches that they had to play, you know, taking a nice victory over Lag as well. Very impressive work from them.
Absolutely. No, I'm very surprised with InControl, and impressed as well with their run. The Lag win being one of them, but we also can't forget Regain. Now F5 coming back and showing them what they've got their revenge after losing 2-0 in pretty decisive fashion. Yeah, they're playing well. F5 as well. I mean, they had their moments here. They obviously made it to these grand finals. Lots of 2-0s. It took 3 overtimes to get those 2-0s. Overall, they ran out of gas, it seems, in this grand final. Despite a impressive comeback, being down 7-5 and getting Signal back into the mix, it didn't really seem to change anything, having their full 5 once they got the Overpass their map pick, which had been going well. It was 4 wins in a row for them until that loss, and once they lost an Overpass, it felt like things may have been crumbling apart, and indeed, that was confirmed once we got to Nuke. And we'll look at this prize pool again, $8,000 for InControl. And look, F5 don't walk away empty-handed. They get the 4,000, but I'm sure they would have loved that berth into the regional final.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a key contributor here for these teams, getting to challenge up against some tough competition. A lot of, you know, fight being shown out of F5, no doubt about it. Really impressive run. I want to see a little bit more from them, and sure we'll be seeing them in you know, the final cup there for cup number 4. But, you know, for InControl to be able to enter into that regional final, I really wanted to see this team in particular be able to measure up against some of the best competition there, and that's what they're going to be able to do.
And that wraps up Cup number 3, folks. Cup number 4 is coming up a little later this month, guys, so make sure you tune in for that. But for now, myself and Exner are signing off. We hope you all have a great night. Because Cameron is going to get headshot through the smoke. Ayanu finds know where he is. Bones jumping up, speaking around, misses another one, goes out again, wins that fight, won't win the next. Finally in hand. Can isolate the duel, sees the shoulder and hits the shot. Now one waiting for Nate to show himself. He's got the jump, he just holds this angle and scopes in. He's got it! Ayanu! Quick scope.
They say sight mode becomes that much more difficult without this positioning, so I have to go flush out these players. The rest of the team are coming through with a spray transfer.
Pretty effectively here, but he could get caught. He has to be careful. Oh, Tyra's overlooking it, but Cameron still hasn't looked up. Oh, now he does. He gets one. Trying to get the quick second. Can he find? Oh. Yes, he can. Oh, my goodness. What a clutch from Cameron. Over the ground. Rifles now on the board for everyone. Kermie will get wiped out by JS Dollar, but he does do a lot of damage before he falls. And there's the trade. Signal will fall, and Aylor gets a 2K. It's going to go wrong here. It already does in the first step forward.
Oh.
Ayanu traded up. Oh, it doesn't go wrong at all. I take it all back. Ayanu getting to last bastion of hope. Spamming around through the smoke, hoping to connect with something, but getting absolutely nothing. The key spot. He's the victim. I slipped up the fence. Oh, Cameron.
Okay.
Cameron.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. How does that happen?
Oh,
no. What is this?
Golden opportunity for him to be the hero and to seal things up now. Doesn't want to find himself in this position, but still can deliver. 1 kill provided, and the follow-up. J.S. Filtner putting the finisher on here, and InControl will close things out.